To Joe Paterno's worries. The pop again is missing from his offense for a second straight year, and it could be a long year in Happy Valley. The ride for the Lions quarterbacks has been a rough one, too. Neither able to lift the team on his battered shoulders. It could be another banner year for Michigan. A dramatically improved defense has rattled opponents, and a revamped offense has found a new constellation of stars. This is the 575th game that man has been either an assistant or a head coach at Penn State. And his Nittany Lions, for only the second time in history, are off to an 0-3 start. And a tough task at hand today because they face the 15th ranked team in the country, a team that's beaten them 4 times in a row, the Wolverines of Michigan. Hi again, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler with Bob Greasy. We'll welcome you to Happy Valley, where things, quite frankly, aren't so happy right now. As everybody's waiting for that record-breaking win for Joe Paterno, they may have to wait a while. Who knows? Michigan lost 7 legitimate stars on offense last year. Most of them are in the NFL, Grease. One's playing Major League Baseball. They haven't seemed to miss a beat.
They're not rebuilding, they're just reloading. That's how good the recruiting has been at Michigan, but they had to replace their quarterback. John Navarre stepped in and done well. One player that has stepped up big time that was a starter last year comes back, Marquise Walker, a wide receiver, a big-time guy, 27 receptions, 4 touchdown receptions in the first 4 ball games. He is a legitimate big threat and a concern for Penn State.
This is not the first time we've seen Penn State in person this year. I got to think if their defense makes a statement, they've got a prayer today.
Their offense is struggling, the offensive line especially. If they're going to win, the defense has to set the tone, and the defensive line, and the leader of that line is Jimmy Kennedy, a big defensive lineman. He's right in the middle of that place. If anything's going to happen for Penn State good, the defensive line. Jimmy Kennedy had a big game last week. He's got to bring his A game here today.
And speaking of A games, the offense is going to be under the leadership of the youngster, the left-hander, making his first career start. That Zach Mills. He'll try to get something going for that much-maligned Penn State offense. What they need is big plays. A guy that's on our team that made a lot of them is on the sideline, Lynn Swann. Swanee?
That's right, Brad. What they need are big plays. And for those who keep stats, a big play is 20 yards or more. But for the Penn State offense, a big play is something that keeps a drive alive. A third down that gets you a big first down, anything to get you in the end zone. And what does Penn State have to do to get that? Well, simply put the ball in the hands of a Johnson. And I don't care which Johnson. It could be Brian Johnson, Tony Johnson, or it could be Larry Johnson. These are the guys that can make it happen, especially Larry Johnson. He's a quiet man off the field, but Brad, on the field, he plays aggressive and he plays angry, and he wants it bad. And these fans behind me, I think they want it bad too.
Michigan with a kick, 5 yards deep. Penn State will not bring it out. And so the Penn State offense with Zach Mills at the controls. As we said, making his first career start. We saw him in extensive action against Miami with Matt Seneca with a bad shoulder. Here comes the kid to make his first start, a redshirt freshman out of Janesville, Maryland. A little bit of pressure in front of a big hometown crowd, but
he's seen a lot of action in the first 3 games, but this is the first time he has had the pressure going into the game.
And they'll work from the 20-yard line. Mills is going to throw on first down. It's got his man in and out of his hands. And it was Eddie Drummond who should have had it. And there we start right where Swanee talked about making a play. And Drummond should have had that, and it should have been a first down. That's been the problem they've had all year long.
Not an easy catch. It's a slant, and he's in traffic, but the ball is right on target. Right there. You got to make the play and then take the hit.
Charles Drake is the guy that gave him the hit, so it's 2nd down and 10. Drake starting at that safety spot with Julius Curry out today. He and Cato June are the 2 starting safeties for Michigan. On a 2nd and 10. Mills again will try it. This time, another drop ball, Brian Johnson. Well, already the Boo Birds are out. The Burger King starting lineup. Here's the Whoppers up front. Felder, Ransom, Iorio, Linda, and McKelvey making just his 2nd start at right tackle. Johnson, McHugh, John Gilmore is at tight end, Tony Johnson, and Brian Johnson. And we just saw Brian Johnson drop that last pass. So the offense of Penn State, as I said, much maligned, and
2 throws, 2 drops.
Sean McHugh is the guy flanking Mills in the shotgun right now. They fake the handoff to him and go deep down the middle, and Gilmore dropped one. Those are 3 catchable passes, and that is the way the Penn State season has gone so far.
You got to give credit to Mills, the redshirt freshman with the first start. All 3 of the balls were on target. The first and the third one were tough catches. This could have been made by Gilmore. You got to come down with it. Your offense has not scored a touchdown in the first half. Make a play. Help your quarterback.
David Royer now have to punt. He's been a busy punter all year, and he had it partially blocked. Somebody got a hand on it. It's going to roll out near midfield, and that's about it. Michigan will have great field position. Looked like either John Shaw or Anthony Jordan. Let's take another look. Right in the middle of the pile, running by Royer. We'll get a better look here.
Right here, right up the middle. Comes right up the center. You can't have that. Whew.
So now the offense with great field position for Michigan. Draw play at Askew. Only got about a yard. There's John Navarre. This is the guy Bob mentioned, the sophomore, taking over where Drew Henson was a star last year. And, of course, he started some of the games last year when Henson was out with an injury. He's put up impressive numbers so far.
This is his 9th start. He is 6-2 as a starter, but both of those losses, one this year and one last year, have both been on the road.
Pickup of a yard. Michigan working from its own 49-yard line under Lloyd Carr. His 7th season as the head man of the Wolverines. Nice play fake by Navarre on a bootleg. In trouble, and down he goes. Michael Haynes, a guy that the Penn State coaches says has to pick up his game, and he did there, and that's a big sack.
This is a play Michigan has run for years and years, and Haynes does a nice job of being aware and alert. Fake it to the fullback, sprint out. Now you're looking for tight ends coming across the field, and there was nobody open, and Haynes gets the first sack of the game. Nice play, stay wide. Good play.
3rd down at 16. And they're starting to rumble Beaver Stadium here for the defense. Screen pass, Askew. Got some blockers in front. Hurdles the man, he's got a first down and a bunch more. Down the sideline all the way to the 23-yard line.
This is just a nice call by the offensive coordinator, Stan Parrish. It's 3rd and long. You would think that Penn State might be looking for a screen. But no, screen to our left side. Right here. Right there, the jump over the defensive man that just tried to throw a block instead of make a tackle.
By the way, that's legal in college football this year,
yes.
Starting for the first time. A hurdle like that.
Yeah.
36-yard pickup. Now back to the ground game. Askew's got a blocker in front. It's a nice play defensively by Shamar Finney, the middle linebacker. Michigan offensively up front. Pate, Goodwin, Anderson, Petrozello, and Solomon across the front wall. They've already seen Askew carry the ball several times. He'll play both fullback and tailback, where Walter Cross will split some time with him. Seymour, the tight end, and Bellamy and Walker are the wide receivers. Marquise Walker leads the Big Ten in receiving. Askew, the guy that carries the mail. 2 touchdowns last week on an 80-yard performance in the win over Illinois. Cross comes in now to join him in the backfield on 2nd down and 11. From the 23 of Penn State. Navarre, plenty of time, has time to pump and come back to his 2nd receiver. And Askew's run out of bounds at about the 14-yard line. Burger King starting defense for Penn State. Here's the guys that Bob talked about. Jimmy Kennedy, one of the best around, with Adams, the other tackle. Jones and Haynes, the defensive ends, and Haynes already has a sack today. The linebacking core, Tolles is in there with Finney, their defensive captain, and Tom Williams, a former walk-on. And the secondary,
not what they're not used to around here.
Not at all. Ryan Scott will be the guy matched up much of the day with Marquise Walker. Mayer, Israel, and Branch round out the secondary. There's a guy that'll be busy today with one of the best receivers in football. Three receivers to the left. They get it out to Walker. He had a couple blockers in front, but slicing through there to make the stop. Sean Mayer and Yaakov Yisrael are there, and they make the hit.
Pick up the first down, 3rd and 3. 3 guys lined up in a bunch situation. He throws to the one behind. The 2 front guys get a block. That's Thompson, number 84. Thompson, 84, gets a block. Both tight ends are out there. Joffrey is 83. So you put your 2 tight ends and your best receiver out on the left side, and you pick up the first down.
Well, they've got it 1st and goal, Michigan. Remember, this follows a partially blocked punt, an excellent field position. So they've had a short field to work from. Our referee, Dave Whitvote, momentarily stops play. Now he'll whistle it back. And it's 1st and goal at the 9. Play action to cross. Navarre's got all day. Walker's got the catch. Immediately knocked out of bounds just inside the 6. It'll be 2nd down and goal.
This was just a wonderful throw. He puts it right on the money. The defensive back was in great coverage. He looks downfield, doesn't see the open man, and then comes off. If Branch could have been in a little bit better shape, he might have been able to cut in front and make the big play that this Penn State defense and this team needs so desperately.
Red zone has been good to Michigan this year. Opening drive for the Wolverines. Draw play to Askew. Broke a couple tackles, and he got down to about the 2-yard line. That should have been at least a 1-yard loss. He turned it into a short gain.
You know, Michigan lost Anthony Thomas from last year's squad, but they just reload with Askew. They've got other running backs in the stable as well. Somebody's got to make a tackle, but this is a shifty running back. Chris Perry is back, ready to play today. And also Walter Cross. They've got plenty of offensive backs to put in there.
9th play of the drive, 3rd down and goal just outside the Penn State 2. Askew now the single setback as they send a trio to the top of your screen again. That's the way Navarre's looking. Throws incomplete. And Penn State's defense is held.
Same situation with the 3 at the top. The bunch look. 2 tight ends and Walker. And this time they tried to hit Joffrey, the tight end.
Lloyd Carr, 61 wins in his 7th season as a head man. He's done a great job against unranked teams over his career, which is what Penn State is today. Epstein to try the field goal of 18 yards. This is basically an extra point, and it's a fake. Gonzalez, did he get there?
And I've given it to him.
I don't think so. Penn State has stopped it. Last week, the trick plays were good to Michigan. Today, they try a fake field goal, and they come up short. Gonzalez looking up at the replay screen.
Yeah, they're going to snap it here. They're going to try to get right up into this group right here. But watch it. They're going to get shut out. Look at this.
Boy, that was close.
I think the ruling is that the knee was down. Let's take a look. See if the knee is down before the ball. Yeah, it looked like his knee was down, and then the ball crossed the line. That end line is in the end zone, so all you have to do is touch the edge of it for a touchdown.
That's where Penn State's offense is in the end zone. Mills to throw. Comes out, fires, got him in, and this one's caught by Bryant Johnson. I thought he was going to drop that one too.
Unbelievable. We were told, Joe told us yesterday, and Franny Ganner, the offensive coordinator, says, unlike Penn State in the past, we're going to have to throw the ball to set up the run. 4 plays for Penn State and 4 passes. Redshirt freshman. This one he caught twice, Bryant. Somebody's got to help him out. Come on.
So a big play. Frank Ganner, the offensive coordinator, looking on to pick up a 22 and have some breathing room as the sun shines over the Penn State offense. Mills, quick drop, might be dropped. Run down from behind. Let's check in with Lynn.
Brad, Bob, I think these receivers are just playing without confidence. And if I might go far enough, I might say they're even playing scared. They're so afraid that they're not going to make the play. They think exactly what's going to happen. I mean, it's just they have it in their head. You've got to be confident and believe you're going to make the play happen and not play with that kind of pressure. These guys have put too much pressure on themselves to make plays.
I agree with you, Swanee.
They've had some success, but not a lot. Drummond certainly has had some success.
Just not this year.
Yeah.
So it's second down and a long 9. Here comes a blitz. Larry Johnson broke through a hole. He's got an opening. Johnson's close to a first down. Michigan defense doesn't give up much on the ground. And here's the Burger King defensive front. Rulashek, Poyer, Lazarus, and Orr. They didn't stop Larry Johnson from a first down that time. Two great linebackers in Foot and Hobson. Bracken's the other outside backer. The secondary, as you might guess, always strong. We mentioned Julius Curry not in there today. So Todd Howard, Charles Drake, Cato June, Jeremy LeSueur are the guys that are in the secondary. And a little bit of a switch at the safety spots with Julius Curry out. First down as Johnson got the first across the 33-yard line to near the 34. Play fake by Mills, in trouble. Battles his way back to the line of scrimmage. No score here as we check in at Times Square Stadium in New York, and John Saunders. John?
Right on the Coors Light update. What a finish in Knoxville. Georgia had given up the lead in the final minute, but David Green comes back 6 yards to Veron Haynes. The first time Georgia has beaten Tennessee in Knoxville since 1980. That was also a come-from-behind victory. Brad.
And that was Herschel Walker as a freshman, as a matter of fact, running over Bill Bates.
How about Mark Richt, the new coach at Georgia, with a big win?
That's a huge win.
Huge.
On the road. Second down and 10. Mills, the blitz. Oh, what a shot, but holding on was Sean McHugh. Todd Howard, a good cornerback, maybe better than good, and boy, was he waiting in the path of number 82.
And a lot of good things there for Michigan defensively. They had a linebacker blitz from this side over here, going to get in the face of Mills. Mills gets rid of the football, gets it to McHugh, and then Howard sees it. Jim Herman, defensive coordinator, likes to put pressure and likes to blitz.
And McHugh, the guy that made the catch, had 6 catches last week, and he was shaken up on that play. He's a big and 6'5", and almost 260. They're working on his lower leg as he had the collision out there with Todd Howard, the senior cornerback.
They really like this guy, McHugh. He is, like you said, he's huge. He came in as a tight end. He's playing the fullback position. You don't see many fullbacks that are 6'5" and close to 260, but he's more of a moving tailback, like an H-back. He's half tight end, half fullback. But they threw, like you said, 6 balls last week, and he's already been a big part of the game plan here today. And Joe's worried because he was going to be a big part of the game plan right today.
And they've got to put in Paul Jefferson now, the sophomore, in his stead.
And he cannot do the things that McHugh could do.
Penn State with a third down and 8. Mills has done a nice job so far. On the roll, he might keep this one, but he won't get the first down. Got only about a yard. Maybe didn't get that much before Jeremy LeSueur knocked him out of bounds, and Penn State will have to punt, but they won the battle of field position on that deal.
Exactly. Nobody open. That's okay. Don't make a mistake. You moved it from the 1-inch line where Michigan was about to score out to the 35. Now you're going to punt it. A lot of times when you're in the offense, punting is okay.
And Royer will do so. Much better punter than a year ago. Had his first one partially blocked. This one he gets away clean. Bellamy waits on it at the 21. And down to the 29. So far, the fans have enjoyed what they've seen of Penn State. And Michigan will be back on offense for the second time when we come back. No score in Happy Valley. Couple guys that played on the 82 championship team right there. I don't know if Blackledge is one of those guys or not.
Without a face mask.
Here's Navarre on the roll. In and out of the hands of Bruce Branch, who almost picked it off.
Almost made a big play. The defense has got to step up. Michigan rolling out, getting outside the pocket. Navarre comes back. He's only seeing his receiver when you're running out like that, you look at the defense, not your offensive guys. You know where they're going. You need to throw it around the defensive backs.
2nd and 10 for the Wolverines. Draw play. Askew cuts outside. A nice stiff arm. Heading for the corner, but they won't let him get there. Nice pursuit by the Penn State defense. Brian Scott got back there with Derek Tolles to help the stop. And let's take a look at the Pontiac game solutions, Bob.
When Michigan, when you're on the road, you got to keep your balance. That means run and pass. And let the Lions sleep. Don't help them. Turnovers, penalties, things like that. Penn State, the defense has to lead the way, and offensively, you got to throw early to set up the run. The first 5 plays for Penn State were passes.
They've done those bottom 2 beautifully so far. See if their defense can get another stop. 3rd and 3. Navarre down the middle. Got his tight end. Big target in Bill Seymour, and he's got a first down. Seymour with his 12th catch of the season.
Seymour's over here. He's just going to come down and find the center of the field. And when you've got a tight end that can get open in the center of the field, you can move the ball right down the field. Look at the open, how open he was. You've got backs to throw to and tight ends that can get open. You can move right down the field.
They got 3 good tight ends.
They do. They've always had good tight ends.
At the 47, fake the end around and go straight up the middle. They like that play. It did well for them against Illinois. And Askew got about 6 that time before Jimmy Kennedy could track him down. But they have moved back into Penn State territory now.
Jimmy Kennedy.
Just outside the Penn State 47. We've got 6:15 left in the first quarter. No score. If you just joined us, Joe Paterno looking for his first win of the season, the 323rd of his career. And what is now a sunny, beautiful day. It was cold and windy this morning. Wind still could be a factor before this one's over. Askew. Boy, nice second effort for the second time for him today. Williams and Finney make the tackle. He's a little bit short of the first down.
Michigan has the wind, as you mentioned. It is a factor.
15 to 25 and gusting stronger than that at times, but still a prettier day than when we first got over to the stadium a few hours ago.
You know, go back to the Michigan's first drive when they were on the one foot line going for a field goal, and they tried the fake to go in for it. Everybody says Carr's a conservative coach. Well, I like the call, and that'll help him down the road, because other teams, when they see that, they'll know that, hey, something may happen on the punt team or the field goal team.
Askew's got a first down near the 40-yard line. Anybody that might have watched the Michigan-Illinois game last week knows that Lloyd Carr wasn't conservative in that one either.
Yeah, and also Lloyd Carr, remember what he told us on Wednesday? He wanted to make sure that Penn State didn't do anything early, so he wanted to get in the end zone to kind of keep them down early in this ball game and not let them see any life whatsoever.
Navarre going down toward that end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Calvin Bell. So they went long ball. When they get you down in that 45 yards and in category, they're liable to pull the plug on you. Navarre's 5 out of 8.
But he had a receiver on the other side of the field that was wide open, going straight down the field. Bellamy, see, he's looking to our right side. If he would have come back and thrown down the left seam, it was a pattern that called 4 vertical. 4 guys straight down the field, 2 down the sideline, and 2 up the hash marks. And you have to look off the free safety. That time Bellamy had it beat.
They got 4 receivers out there for Navarre right now on 2nd down and 10. He goes across the middle. Out of the backfield, Askew's got a first down and then some down to the 25-yard line. And another first down, a pickup of 15. So they spread everybody out, 2 wideouts to each side, and they hit the running back out of the backfield down the middle.
Well, everybody is spread out. Everybody is running straight down the field. And then you throw it to a guy that's caught a lot of balls. That's 30 pass completions to Askew coming into the game. And I think that's already, what, his third ball that he's caught here today.
For 60 yards. Another first down. Wolverines at the Penn State 25 with 4.5 to go first quarter. Askew, left side, going to have a first down on the ground this time. This is what they did in the second half last week after they got up on Illinois. They gave it to number 35, and you said basically take us to the victory.
Yeah, 84 is Thompson, the tight end. This is what we talk about in the game solutions: balance, run and pass. If you can go on the road and take a running game with you, that's the best thing that you can have offensively, because you're going to be able to throw the ball, but if you can run the ball, everything else opens up.
Michigan coming in 160 yards a game on the ground, which is 8th in the Big Ten.
Run!
Straight up the middle again with the follow fake of that end around, and you can bet they'll keep doing that, and pretty soon that guy coming around is going to get it. Williams makes the tackle on Askew, who got about 3. Joe Paterno in his 36th year as the head coach. We mentioned he's been around here forever as an assistant under Rip Engel before that, so the 52nd year he's been on this staff, and 575 games he's coached in. Holy smokes.
Yeah, and you know, he's not even thinking about any of those. He's just thinking about this one and the next ones.
2nd and 7. Navarre, they're not getting any pressure on him, but that one he threw way too wide for Ronald Bellamy. Right now, Navarre's standing back there like a statue. He's got all day.
And that's pretty impressive because, like you said in the opening, they've lost 4 offensive linemen from last year, and those 4 are starting in the NFL today.
You got Hutchinson and Backus and those guys that were an All-American.
Mo Williams, all 4 of them are starting. You've got 4 new starters in that offensive line. Terry Malone, the offensive line coach, and that group are doing a nice job of. I saw him before the game, Terry. I said, now you got to go back to coaching.
4 out of 5 on 3rd down conversions. They're going to play it safe here. And Penn State was waiting on it. Michael Haynes and Gino Capone on the tackle.
Joe knows that he's got an offense, the first-time starter. He's got a weak offensive line. The defense has got to do something to get this game, this crowd back in the ballgame.
Joe's got to like that. Yep. And now it's time for a kick, and well, maybe not. Navarre is in there. Yes, Epstein's in there. And Navarre to hold. 29-yard field goal attempt. We assume they're going to try this one. Had 1 block this year. Michigan trying to get on the board. The kick on the way, and it's good. So we played down to the 2:41 mark of the first quarter. The Wolverines on their 2nd possession do go for the field goal, and they knock it home from 29 yards to lead 3-0.
Get to the ball, let's go! Well, with 36, that's far to go. Third down and if you let it run, you'll get out of it, you know.
I got to tell you, Thursday at practice, maybe a little more gray in the hair, but pretty much the same guy as yesteryear out of practice. Joe Paterno. He gets involved.
He gets in it. He knows everything that's going on everywhere on that practice field.
Here's the kick. And dropped. Picked up by McCoo, and it cost him. That fumble at the 1. Had to try to find the handle and got only to the 12-yard line. So Penn State's going to have to work in a bit of a hole after a shoddy kick return. So far, so good for Penn State, though. Their defense has played pretty well. Michigan, number 15 in the country, leading by only a field goal. Nothing. The Wolverines of Michigan with a lead.
So look at Marlon Jackson. He is a true freshman. Jim Herman was telling me about him, a defensive back. He said he's the best thing we've had around here, defensive back-wise, since Charles Woodson.
That's big shoes.
That's pretty good stuff.
Larry Johnson on the give. Made something out of nothing. Got a couple yards on the play. With 2:25 left in the quarter. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Bud Light. The great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud Light. Pontiac. What would you do with some Pontiac excitement? Discover card for the slightly smarter consumer. And SBC, we're on it. A 2nd down and 7. Here comes a blitz on Mills. They pick it up, and he throws that one out of bounds just to get rid of it. Gilmore was the closest guy.
Zach Mills, as we've talked about, is a redshirt freshman, and not many redshirt freshmen, not many freshmen will play for Joe Paterno at Penn State. Normally, it's the old system where you wait your turn. You wait 3 or 4 years, and you play maybe your 5th year senior year. This kid, because of the situation this year with Seneca, and he was the backup, Seneca being hurt and injured a couple games, has played a lot, and I'm impressed with him. He's played very well and very smart.
I think he's been very poised today. Had first 3 passes dropped, didn't drive him crazy. He's going to look for a block here, get what he can across the 20. He's pretty close to a first down. That's the one thing that they loved about Seneca, and Fran Ganter would tell us that he's a Joe Cap type, and he's so tough, and because of that, his teammates support him. Well, this kid, I think, is pretty tough, too, and he keeps more runs like this, and they're going to have more and more admiration for him.
He said he's a cool customer. He never gets flustered. He's very bright, and I've been impressed with him.
They're going to have to punt again. They came up a couple feet shy of a first down. Royer's kick, not the greatest. Side to side, it'll bounce near midfield.
Again, kicking into that wind.
That's true.
Gusting to 20, 25 mile an hour.
Got a decent roll, though. It's going to stop back at the 39-yard line. 3-0 our score here. Reminder, coming up next Saturday at 12 Eastern. Ought to be a dandy. Number 1 Miami, at number 14 Florida State. And at 3:30, Wisconsin, Ohio State, UCLA, Washington. Last time we heard, Wisconsin was trailing Indiana 42-17 at halftime.
Wow.
Some crazy things going on today. Kansas State, I think, was beaten, weren't they?
I think they
were
beat.
Trailing anyway. Yeah, they got beat by Colorado.
Cam Cameron needs a win over there at Indiana. He was at Michigan assistant coach for a long time.
Look at all those scores and highlights with John Terry at halftime, of course. Here's Askew. Penn State runs him down. Haynes is having a good game, and he got help from Derek Tolles. Michael Haynes, a defensive end, got out there. He's made a couple nice plays so far in this first quarter.
He has. He's over here. Tolles is number 2. Haynes is number 81. Watches Haynes contains the play, stays to the outside, and then Tolles, number 2, comes in and makes the play. Derek Tolles is an interesting young fella. Isn't he, Lenny?
Oh, yes, he is. But when we go back to Mike Haynes, the way he snaked through that line, I'll tell you about that after this play.
All right, second down 10. Navarre, screen pass to Askew. Haynes is going to be in on this one, too, along the Tolles. Same 2 guys, opposite side. Yeah. 20.
Well, that's Mike Haynes. He snakes his way through lines because snakes are his favorite reptile, if you want to call it that, or animals. He actually had a summer job where he worked at a place called Reptiland, and they reproduce those particular species. And he said it's not a glamorous job, not a lot of fun. You do a lot of cleaning up and you're straightening up, but you're learning a lot. He says one day he hopes to become a veterinarian. His favorite pet when he was growing up was a boa that he had, a boa constrictor.
I just love those guys. I wouldn't want to visit them, but I love those guys.
I wonder if he ever took that into a meeting with Joe Paul.
Third down and long is coming up, but it's going to have to wait because the quarter has come to a close. Good, tough, hard-hitting ball game between Lloyd Carr's Wolverines and Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions. A field goal, all we have on the scoreboard so far. The end of one, Michigan 3, Penn State nothing. Set to start the second quarter at Beaver Stadium. Third down and 14. Navarre's hit all 3 of his third down conversions to 3 different receivers. Deep ball's got another one.
Great throw.
Ronald Bellamy with a catch on a long ball, and it's a first down on a 33-yard pickup. Boy, he's going into the wind, Grease, and he throws a rocket here.
He's big, and he is strong, and he can get this ball in. Inside receiver, outside receiver goes straight down. You're going to throw the ball right over the short zone guys and in between the other 2 safeties.
Perfect pass.
This is called 4 verticals. 1 down the sideline, 1 up the seam. A lot of teams throwing it, not much better than that.
Now a little quick opening draw. Askew, I think they're going to call a face mask on somebody, incidental face mask in there as his head got turned around, but he still got about 6 yards on the carry. Our first penalty of the game, and that's the call.
Shamar Finney and Lamar Stewart on.
Line of scrimmage at 25. You can watch right there, and it's Haynes.
Yep.
during the run. Incidental 5-yard face mask.
That was
on
only
the defense.
incidental.
Penalties from the end of the run, 5 yards,
And it's a
results
first
in an
down, though.
automatic first down.
So he got 6, and you add the 5, and they go down to the 20.
There's a 15-yard penalty if you grab and twist and hang on, and certainly that wasn't the case.
3 wideouts now for Navarre, with Bellamy in a slot. He pumps once, lofts it to the end zone. Broken up. Nice play defensively by Bruce Branch.
I like the play. Michigan attacking once they get inside the 20-yard line. Let's go ahead and run this. Take a look at the protection. Pumps a little bit. Great protection.
Beautiful play defensively by the senior out of Richmond, Virginia, Branch. That'll bring up second down and 10 at the 20. 2 tight ends set. Both wide receivers to the near side. Now Calvin Bell in motion. They give it to him on an end around. Calvin Bell. And he gets tagged at about the 15-yard line out there by Mayer, the safety, who's a little bit shaky getting up after the hit.
Well, Bell's got reverse written all over him, and I'm sure the defensive coaches, Tom Bradley, the coordinator for Penn State, made their players all aware of that. He's carried the ball 4 times this year, and 4 of them have been reverses, scored 2 touchdowns. So when they get inside the 20-yard line, that's one of the plays they like. There's a look at Tom.
Bradley, defensive coordinator, who lost his dad this week. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the Bradley family. 3rd down and 5.
It is bunch.
There's the bunch to the left, and that's where Navarre is looking, and he's hit. Dropped by Shamar Finney. Finney with a great blitz, and Navarre never had a chance to pull a trigger.
Penn State getting after it defensively. That's an offensive line that has been doing well. They've only allowed 9 sacks in 4 games, but Navarre never saw him. He came from his blind side, and a nice design play.
It's amazing. The 2 guys that the coaches told us had to step up this week, Finney and Haynes, have had great first half so far. So now Epstein's going to try a 41-yard kick. He hit from 29 earlier. Kick on the way, and he got it just barely. Tucked it inside the upright on the right side from 41. Michigan gets 3 more. But again, the Penn State defense has played well to hold the Michigan offense in check. Wolverines in front, 6-0. Epstein set to kick off. And the brothers Johnson are back deep. Tony and Larry. This will be Tony, a yard deep. Tony Johnson found himself a little opening. Almost broke it out of there. Got out to the 24-yard line. Our Pacific Life game summary in this one so far. Michigan's been inside the red zone 3 times and only 6 points. Askew, 99 total yards, and a nice job as both a runner and a receiver today. Zach Mills has had his first 3 passes dropped today and has still hung in there pretty tough. And it's 6-0. 15th ranked Michigan in front. Best starting field position of the day. Not that it's that great, but it's better than what the Nittany Lions have had so far. Just outside their own 24. Here is Larry Johnson. And no gain on that play. Might have even lost a little bit. Shante Orr is the guy that made the stop.
Penn State has not done much in the first half. Right here, they've only scored 5 points. But look in the second half, their opponents have only scored 12 points. So if Penn State can hold on to Michigan and keep the game close, in the second half, they've played much better than they have in the first half in the first 3 ball games.
Their problem is they sleepwalked through the first half, and by the time they realize what hit them, the nightmare's over in the second half. Here's Zach Mills in trouble. Got away from 1, not the other 2 or 3. The pressure game from Freisinger, and then his teammates Rumashek and company got there to combine on the sack.
So one of the things when you look at Penn State offensively and you wonder why they haven't scored, They've got talent at the wide receivers, inconsistent as we've seen dropping balls. They've got good running backs. They're inconsistent at the quarterback, and the offensive line is just not what it used to be around here. They have 3 starters, Hardings, Rickenbach, and Schmidt, that are out, which makes it difficult, but that offensive line is not what it used to be.
And thus the rankings you see. Those rankings are ranked. Here's Mills. Deep balls. Got Drummond. Got it. That'll help the offensive stats. Drummond all the way down to the 45-yard line.
And the strength of this offense is on the outside. The skilled players, Drummond and Brian Johnson and Tony Johnson. Watch the offensive line here and see him get us some protection.
Cato June came on a blitz.
And number 2 right up the center. Almost underthrew it because of the pressure of June, but got it out there, and Drummond makes a play.
Drummond's the guy they expected big plays out of this year. And finally he comes up with one, and Zach Mills had to take one for the team there after he let go. 37-yard pickup though, and it's down into Michigan territory, just inside the 45. Mills, look out from behind. Ball is loose. Michigan's got it on the fumble return, and it's Lazarus who's dragged down from behind by Mills. Rumashek with a hit, Lazarus with a recovery.
That's what turnovers, that's the big thing. Lazarus, number 97, going to get up the middle. It was Rumashek that knocked him down, fumbled the football, and Lazarus picked it up.
Zach Mills probably saved a touchdown there as the big fella was rumbling down near the 20-yard line. Got it to the 21. So just when something had finally gone right for the Penn State offense, they have something go on the negative side, and gives it back to the Michigan offense at the 21-yard line. Askew on a stretch play. Haynes has got him wrapped up for a loss.
Askew has touched the ball 17 times. Here's a look at Rumashek. Watch him. Nobody's going to touch him. Nobody blocks him. Look at that. Nobody blocked him. The tackle let him go. He gets it and knocks the ball loose. Those are the types of mistakes that you can't have in your offensive line. The guy comes from the blind side, hits the quarterback, the ball goes loose, and now you're going the other way.
Loss of a couple, 2nd down and 12. Navarre goes in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. Marquise Walker had him hit it, but Bruce Branch was right there with him, and he couldn't hold on.
I like the attacking style of the Wolverines. I've seen them in the past where they weren't so attacking. Back in the days of Schembeckler and Gary Moeller, and in the early days of Lloyd Carr. But now they're turning him loose, and Stan Parrish has done a nice job offensively.
And Bob, I love what Michigan is trying to do. They're going after Bruce Branch, and that's what I would do. He's got the least experience of the guys in the secondary in the corner. Used to be a wide receiver, but he's going to be under a lot of pressure today.
Navarre from the gun, under the gun. Down he goes. Shamar Finney's got his 2nd sack of the day. Finney, the middle linebacker captain, came storming through there. There he comes, number 21.
Right up the gut, you had 2 guys blitzing. Everybody picked up the other guy. That was Scott. And Finney got there.
And now Epstein will try a 48-yard field goal. He hit from 41 and 29 earlier. Kick on the way. Not this time. Penn State's defense does the job after their offense gives it up. I think Joe Paterno likes the way his defense is played, and that's what we talked about to open up the game today, Bob.
Exactly. He knew that they need to get into the game. You know, it was something strange as we watched the replay of this kick and the near miss. About an hour and a half, 2 hours before the game, a bunch of the Penn State players, I mean the whole team, came out on the field in T-shirts and football pads and shoes. I've never seen that at Penn State before, but he let them go out before the game. I think just try and get them a jump started. get him into the flow of the game a little earlier.
Mills back to throw. Got a man wide open. Brian Johnson with a flag down. Johnson down to the 40. Again, there's a flag back at the 45. The ball is dead, the field judge says, at the 40. But let's see if there was either holding or interference before that pass was completed. And I mean, it might be interference either way. Let's wait and see.
He was wide open. There was nobody near him. Well, the players, the feeling you get from the players that it's going against Michigan.
Yep, obviously it is.
You just look out there, and the players normally know.
It's a face mask.
Yeah.
That I did not see. At any rate, Brian Johnson was wide open, and he takes it down to the 40-yard line. Penn State, because of their defense, is one play away from being tied or ahead in this game with 9:53 left in the first half. And now they're walking it off the end of the play. Now that would be a post-possession penalty when they threw it back near the 45-yard line where the play started. I don't know.
If you have a face mask on a play, you go to the end of the play, and then you put the foul on top of that.
So the face mask had to be on Bryant Johnson then, pretty much.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense during the pass. The penalty is declined. First down.
Okay, penalties declined. So now they're moving. Now they're moving the line of scrimmage back.
Is it 97 right there in the middle? Watch him. Looks like he's got a little bit of a right-handed face mask there. The umpire, is he going to call it?
You may never know.
That was close, though. There's a lot of hand fighting going in that offensive defensive line.
First down, Penn State at the Michigan 40. Mills floats one out, gets a short gain. Paul Jefferson, the backup fullback, picks up about 4. Time right now for the Aflac trivia question for this week. Which two teams lead the NCAA in total wins? Give you time to think that one over. Meanwhile, we've got second down and a long 5 coming up just outside the Michigan 35. Mills will work from the gun with 3 wide receivers. Here comes a blitz from the corner. Shovel pass inside to Jefferson. Broke 1 tackle. No, he didn't. I take it back. Eric Brackens wouldn't let him go.
Well, if he would have given up his shoe
or his leg,
he could have gotten free.
He might have had to give up the whole leg. I don't know.
Yeah, give it up. The old shovel pass. Let him come up, then slide it forward. That's a forward pass. Brackens 51. He's holding on.
Yep.
He ain't going. He got more than his shoe. He got his lower leg.
Yeah, it's going to bring up third down. It's a big third down for Penn State. They came into the game 29% on their third down conversions. Eric McCoo will flank Mills now in the shotgun.
The man coverage everywhere.
Oh boy, they blew that one up. Hobson came flying in there.
You can't do something that slow against an aggressive defense.
Sante Orr was there as well.
You just can't do something. You're holding the quarterback in there and letting them go. Felder 72. We talked about the offensive line. Over here from this side, watch as they're going to have both guys come. Hobson, number 6, comes first, and then Orr comes around.
Royer's got to get one down in tight here. He might have hit this one too much. No, he didn't. Great play down there by Tony Johnson, who caught that one on the fly at the 5-yard line. That's good punt coverage. And we got a hard-hitting defensive football game going on in Happy Valley. Second quarter has 8:04 remaining. It's 6-0 Michigan. Our Nissan drive summary for Michigan. 4 drives in the red zone. They lost it on downs. They missed a field goal. They hit a couple. That's all the scoring we have.
They've had 2 drives, one drive of 10 plays, the other of 13 plays. They've moved it, they just haven't gotten into the end zone.
Now they're backed up near their own goal line. Askew. Lamar Finney made the tackle after a pickup of about 3. Askew closing in on 50 yards rushing in the first half. He's up to 44. He's already carried it 14 times.
That was his 15th carry. He has caught the ball 4 times. So that's 19 times that Askew has touched it. And Michigan has had it 32 times, 33 plays.
He's getting some work.
They're working the man. As my old friend Keith Jackson used to say, he don't belong no union and it ain't heavy.
He's going to carry it again. It's still not heavy, but he still didn't get a first down. He's going to bring up a 3rd down situation for Michigan again. This time 3rd down and almost 3. We have a little over 7 minutes. There's the numbers now on BJ.
He came into the ball game as their leading rusher and one of their top receivers.
Averaging 5 yards a carry coming in. 5 touchdowns on the ground and 1 as a receiver so far this year. 3rd down, a short 3. They go with triple package out there, trying to throw a little screen out for some blockers, and they don't complete the pass to Marquise Walker. Penn State's defense does it again.
Yes, they have.
And their fans showing the appreciation of that now.
Penn State's problem has been the first half play. They've gotten better as the game has gone on. Take a look at Derek Toles, number 2, was getting out there. Poor throw, poor execution.
Now Bruce Branch waits back at the 45 of Epstein's punt from his own end zone. Nice kick. Branch way back to the 31-yard line. And down he goes. Nice coverage. Dropped at the 36. Brandon Williams makes the stop on the special teams on the punt return. So Penn State, we talked to Brian Johnson, number 32, trotting off the field, and he said he thinks his Nittany Lion teammates need to show a little more fire out here.
I would like our team to show more emotion. I think we're aggressive. We fly to the ball. We're trying to make big plays, but we just show no emotion, whether it's a good play or bad play. It just seems the team morale is just, it's just flat. It just seems flat. I know emotions run high normally during a football game, and I just don't see the emotion out there. I'd like to see more of that, and I think that could contribute to what we're doing.
Very articulate young man playing in that secondary, and he's had a handful today playing against the excellent wide receivers of Michigan. I think they have shown more fire, and as you talked about, Bob, just that whole thing where they changed up a little bit and came out a little bit early today, and it seems to have helped them. They're only trailing 6-0 with 6:10 left, and of course looking, if you're just joining us, for their first win of the season. There's a loss on that play, a completion on the swing pass, but a loss of 1 to McCoo. 2nd down, 11. Mills in trouble again. Going to have to get rid of it. He did and completed it somehow. Pickup of almost 3. John Gilmore made the catch. Todd Howard on the tackle. We asked you the Aflac trivia question earlier. Which 2 teams lead the NCAA in total wins? The answer, we gave you time to think about it. Yale and Michigan with 808 victories each. That was a tricky question. We asked that at our production meeting the other night. I said Michigan number 1 and Notre Dame number 2. That would be Division 1A. I hate that when those guys come up with those tricky questions. 3rd down conversion time. It hasn't been great for Penn State.
1 of 5.
Mills in trouble. Ball is loose again. Who's got this one? The pile up at the 40. It's Penn State football, but they're going to have to punt. Gilmore, the tight end, I think is the guy that got back on top of it.
Sometimes punting is not a bad thing to do. You've got to teach your young quarterbacks. They always want to do something. They want to try and make something out of nothing. This is not his fault. Zach Mills got to hold on to the football. It's amazing that Penn State got back on that. Punting is not a bad thing when you're playing a tough defense.
That time clock in Zach Mills' head, Bob, seems to be getting longer and longer.
Yeah.
Bellamy. Richard Gardner took that right off the shoulder pads of Bellamy. There's your big play. Chicago. You talk about heads up. Watch this.
Well, he's in there, right? Bellamy is in there because Julius Curry is not here. He would normally be back playing that position. Michigan has made some mistakes in their kicking game, and Penn State has recovered a couple of, and they blocked 2 kicks and scored on those. So Michigan made a mistake. Penn State takes over.
That is as good a special teams play as you might see all year. First down, Penn State at the Michigan 22 now. Mills thinking the end zone and throws it out of bounds. Gilmore was the closest body, his tight end. And Mills has missed his last 6 pass attempts. Had hit his last 6 prior to that. Beg your pardon?
Yeah, he's 8 of 13 and 101 yards. And he's carried the ball like 8 times for minus 13. Those were all on scrambles. This is obviously the best field position that Penn State has had in this ballgame.
They get a touchdown out of this. This place will erupt like it hasn't so far this year. 2nd and 10. Mills, quick drop, got it out, complete. Tony Johnson got about 5. And the clock winding down near the 4-minute mark. Tony Johnson last week making his first start. We kidded around, Swanee did, about the Johnsons. Get it in the hands of the Johnsons. They got enough of them out there.
Yep.
Tony and Larry are brothers. Bryant, not related. And Tony trots out now.
And in that huddle, and on the Penn State team, a little lack of confidence. Offensively, they all know they have not scored a touchdown in 3.5 games this year.
3rd down, 5.
First down.
Here comes the end around, Eddie Drummond. Drummond's got a seam. It closed in a hurry by Todd Howard. It was Bryant Johnson, not Eddie Drummond. And Todd Howard shows the kind of player he is.
They're going to fake this. They've faked it many of times. They've given it to the running back, and now they give it to him the reverse. Drummond sees the seam, but Howard comes up and makes the play. That's just 2 good football players right there.
That was my fault, Bob. That was Bryant Johnson on the carry on the end around. They're short of the first down, and they're going to bring out the chains, I think, to look at this and see just how close it is.
You know what? Joe's buying some time to make a decision because he knows he's short, but it's close enough to have him measure.
I don't think it's a yard, though. I think it's like a football, maybe. Well, maybe 2. That much, anyway.
You haven't scored a touchdown in the first half all year. You're in the game with Michigan 6 to nothing. What do you do? If you go for it and you don't make it, the confidence of your offense goes south. If you kick it and get 3 points on the board, you go in at halftime, maybe only 6-3 down.
They're going to go for it. They've got Larry Johnson in there, along with Zach Mills. They respot the ball.
Penn State is averaging 46 yards per game. That is last in all of the NCAA in rushing statistics. They are last in rushing.
And Michigan is the best in the conference and 7th best in the nation against the run. Larry Johnson will be the single setback. 4th down, less than a yard. Oh, and somebody moved early. I think Lenda, the right guard, came out too quickly. And that'll kill your momentum. And look at the expression on Joe Paterno's face. Those are the kind of mental problems that have killed him all year.
Prior to the snap,
any opportunity for a first down is gone by the boards now.
The down remains 4.
Tyler Lenda, the right guard. Watch him.
You're right. See, the defensive man moved a little early. The defensive man in front of Lenda moved, and then Lenda moved.
Oh, boy. See Joe's reaction. And now the kick's not exactly a chip shot. Robbie Gould, a true freshman. This is his first field goal attempt of the season. From 35 yards to try to put his team on the board. The wind swirling a little bit, but at his back, and he pushed it to the right. What a terrible way to end a drive for Penn State.
They got a huge break on a fumble of a punt return by Michigan. They got their best field position of the day. They don't do anything with the drive. They go for it on 4th down and have an illegal motion, and then they miss a field goal.
The score doesn't change. '15th-ranked Michigan with a lead, but only 6 points on 2 field goals. Navarre pumps, fires, almost intercepted by Bruce Branch. He overshot his tight end. With 2:38 left in the half. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Nissan. Nissan introduces a totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car. Budweiser, with a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And Pacific Life, annuities, insurance, investments. Discover the power of Pacific Life. Bob and I went out there to have a little chat with that Nittany Lion the other day. When we were out there, it was ball loose at the end, blown dead, though. Way after the play, the ball came out. It's amazing. When we got here Thursday, it was sunny and about 83 degrees, and now we got 25-mile-an-hour winds, partly cloudy, and it's about 50 if we're lucky.
The wind chill factor broke down about 40 degrees.
It's changed quite a bit since Thursday. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Lynn Swan, and our ABC crew at Beaver Stadium, about 107,000 strong. Looking on as 15th-ranked Michigan's got its hands full with winless Penn State right now. 3 wideouts for Navarre on 3rd down and 5. Here comes a blitz. Navarre in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. And Gardner, the guy that made the play on the special teams earlier, is the guy that was covering on the play.
Well, they had a blitz on. Michigan picked the blitz up nicely. Bellamy got open. There's Gardner, number 25, right on him. The ball was just out of his reach. Gardner would have made the play for the tackle, probably would have held him short of the 1st down anyway.
3rd straight 3 and out for the Wolverines now. Epstein to punt. Near his own 15. Bruce Branch is waiting on the other end. Nice kick again. Branch backpedals. He'll field it at the 32. Made 2 guys miss. Bruce Branch out of bounds. Nifty little return.
Very nice.
Of about 13 yards. Reminder coming up at halftime. A minute and 45 seconds from now. The Valvoline halftime show. John and Terry will be at Times Square Stadium as always with scores and highlights from around the country. Some shocking scores.
A little action today.
Yeah, a little bit of action. You see some of the scores on the bottom of your screen, including ones from the Big Ten where Indiana continues to pummel Wisconsin at Wisconsin.
That's unbelievable.
Penn State now with a minute 45 to work and all their timeouts. Mills wants to throw a screen. Wisely got rid of that thing.
Look out now. They want intentional grounding. They say nobody was over there and he was in the pocket. They're not going to get a call, but
nope. Hobson came on a blitz. He's been a thorn in the side, or a bruise in the side of Mills all day.
Hobson and Foote, probably 2 of the best linebacker combinations in the country. And they're both playing for the University of Michigan. 17 is Foote, 6 is Hobson. They both came in as defensive backs. That's why they wear those numbers, and they just moved up to linebacker.
Both are Butkus candidates. Play action, pass complete to Gilmore, the tight end. Knocked out of bounds, but not before he's got a 1st down inside the 35, and a flag flies in late. Cato June's the guy that put the hit on him, and I don't know if he gave him the business over there or not, but we're going to find out. Lloyd Carr's right on top of it. Joe Paterno's on the far side of the field, and Gilmore's got a big catch down the sideline.
Gilmore has always been the receiving tight end.
Personal foul on Penn State.
Yeah, that hurts. When you're struggling offensively to make plays, penalties, stupid penalties like moving on 4th down or personal fouls, you just can't have them.
You could read Joe's lips. He said, "Who's it on?"
After the play, personal foul on the offense, 15 yards from the end of the run.
I didn't see anybody over there except Gilmore.
Now, usually after the play, You know, if Paterno finds out who this is, he'll sit for 2 weeks. He says, somebody else get in there.
I'd rather be on the field than on the sideline when Joe's mad.
Yeah. But we looked, we couldn't find it. We thought somebody was tripping somebody.
So Mack backs it up to midfield. They do have a first down, however. Mills leveled as he threw. Almost into our camera over there. Charles Drake coming in.
Yeah, when Zach Mills sees that, we could see it from our monitor in the game replay. The top of our screen, you can see him moving up. Zach's got to see that and know if he's got it blocked or not. Now, one of the problems with starting a fresh, young quarterback, he may not know when he has everybody blocked and when he doesn't. You got to know who's blocked and who's not. And if that guy's coming up on the outside is not blocked, you got to do something quickly.
3 timeouts remaining. Zach's body is going to be the same color as his jersey by halftime. Like that.
Well, that's what we talk about.
Rumacek got him this time.
That's what we talk about in the offensive line. McKelvey, 75, the right tackle, is playing for Matt Schmidt. Matt Schmidt got mononucleosis a couple of weeks ago, and he's out of it. Right here on this side, Rumacek just runs around McKelvey, who is starting only for the 2nd time in his career.
And McKelvey, that sophomore, just his 2nd start. Penn State has had its share of problems. Drop balls early, 3 in a row on the opening drive, as a matter of fact. Partially blocked punt set up Michigan with good field position, which led to a field goal. And then their quarterback has been manhandled today. They missed a field goal moments ago as Gould trying his first kick of the year. Neil Paterno shows what everybody in the stadium
is showing me is everybody's contributing here.
I think so.
Except the defense. The defense has held up their end of it pretty well.
Swanee?
Well, Bob and Brad, it was just like what Fran Ganter was telling us on Friday morning. And he talked about last week's game for Penn State. And he said on the one series, they're trying to move the ball down the field, and there were 2 or 3 or 4 just mental errors by the team on one drive when it could have been 7 points for his team. This is what Penn State has been fighting all year long. They get the opening drive, 3 drops, which clearly could have been 3 first downs, and all of a sudden you make a good play, it's a penalty. And there's no way of figuring out how to correct that just that easily.
They thought that if they just didn't kill themselves with mistakes today, they had a chance. They still got very much of a chance. We've got a half left, and they're only down 6 points. But some of those mental errors have cost them big time in this first half. Mills throws. Brian Johnson trying to make a diving catch over there, and he didn't have enough territory to work.
That was a smart play. You see what they did? They can't block, so they get Mills outside the pocket. You got to mix that in some, but obviously you're looking at Penn State and you're wondering why their offense hasn't scored. I think it all gets back to the offensive line.
I do too.
They just don't have the players that they've had here in the past in that offensive line.
David Royer to punt. Remember last time Bellamy bobbled it and Gardner took it right off his pads. That was a big play, but it didn't lead to any points. Bellamy fields this one cleanly on the fair catch at the 20-yard line. So Michigan will have it back with 1 minute and 7 seconds before halftime. Reminder, coming up Monday night, live at 9 Eastern, the high-powered Rams will be in Detroit to take on the Lions. Indoor on a fast track. Whew, boy, I'd be backpedaling if I was the Lions. Monday night, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ABC.
Hey, you know, I'd like to play the Rams, but I'd like to play them outside.
In the slop.
In the slop, in cold weather and rain. You know?
That's right.
And then let me see how fast those guys are and how they throw that ball around.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Let's see if Michigan will try to do something with it before halftime. They'll keep it on the ground. They might do something with it anyway. They get out to the 39-yard line as B.J. Askew goes 19 yards. Israel brought him down, and now Michigan may change their theory here as they move the sticks with 1:01 left on whether or not they do want to try to get something before the break. That's Michigan's first down since the opening minute of this quarter. And now they go to the shotgun. Navarre wide opens Marquise Walker. They've held him pretty much in check today. He gets about 9 more before Mayer runs him out of bounds.
That's his 3rd reception for less than 15 yards, so you're right.
He does so well after he catches it, though. You got to watch out for him.
Well, has Michigan had a string of wide receivers down through the years?
I guess. including this guy playing in the shadow of David Terrell last year.
Yep.
At the 49, second down in the yard. They can play with this down a little bit if they want to. Navarre throws incomplete, intended for Calvin Bell. And the clock stopped with 48 seconds left.
I think Navarre's done a nice job for Michigan. He filled in for Drew Henson last year when Henson's foot was broken early in the season. Played the first 4 games. Henson came in the Illinois game and won that one on the road. And Navarre's played very well this year.
He's going to get the first down on the quarterback sneak. Needed a yard on third down, got a couple. And the drive will stay alive, and the clock will stop with 45 seconds while they move the chains.
Well, the clock is stopped only until the chains are moved, then it starts again.
There you hear the whistle. Now out of the gun, first down. Blitz on Navarre. Whoa! Walker got peppered by Gardner.
Good play by Gardner. Nice vision, sees everything that's happening in front of you.
Sophomore out of Chicago with the big hit on the All-American wide receiver. Timeout taken by Michigan. Watch this hit on Walker. Kapow.
There was another receiver going downfield that Gardner was supposed to be covering, but he saw the throw to the short receiver, came off of the deep guy, came up and made the play.
Jimmy Mitchell is the injured party down for Penn State. One of the reserve safeties, a redshirt freshman. And looks like he's all right. So 35 seconds remaining. Navarre is a big package, 6'6", 236. And they've had some big quarterbacks, Collins and
Elvis
Gerbach.
Huh? How about the Elvis?
I like, though, when we talked to the Michigan coaches the other day, they said what Navarre has done with his mental part of the game. Lloyd Carr says he reminds me of 2 guys in recent years, Tom Brady and Brian Griese, as far as his preparation mentally and film work for a ball game.
Well, I never will forget Stan Perry's telling me when Brian Griese was at Michigan and they didn't trust their quarterbacks. They wouldn't, it was 3rd and 7 in a critical situation at Michigan State, and they wouldn't let him throw the football. And Brian came off and says, "What's the matter? Don't you trust me?" And from then on, I think they've loosened up a little bit.
Navarre, the slant, incomplete, in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Marquise Walker. Looked like Navarre had a hard time finding the handle or the laces there to get rid of that ball, and thus the incompletion with 32 seconds remaining. Back in '95, the best ever against Penn State, the aforementioned, and I was chuckling because Bob just says when Brian Griese was there instead of saying when my kid was there. 24 out of 46, 323, and 2 touchdowns. And of course, Brian, a star quarterback with the Denver Broncos, and Tom Brady, who we mentioned, filled in for Drew Bledsoe and got a win for the Patriots last week. Navarre, there he finds a completion down inside the 35, and it is Marquise Walker. Bruce Branch was right there, but a 16-yard pickup. They've still got 26 seconds left.
Michigan offensively hurried down the field about 30 yards. They're set up.
From the shotgun. Going to throw the quick out. Marquise Walker's all alone. I think he would have gone out of bounds, but there was nobody home to bump him out over there. So he tiptoes down the sidelines and gets all the way to the 16-yard line.
They were ready to just throw this ball out of bounds. Quick little throw, nice little out. He's ready to go out of bounds, stop the clock. But he said, nobody's here. Maybe I can make more out of this. Nope, not much more. I better get out.
He made 17 out of it, though.
Yeah.
63-yard drive in less than a minute so far. They took over at their own 20. And the 9th play of the drive coming up. This is picture perfect. I was going to say 2-minute work, but it's 1-minute work.
What do we got for timeouts here?
Michigan's got 2 left.
They're laughing.
Please reset to 17. 1 more second.
Put 1 more second
16,
back on there.
17.
So Michigan in their hurry up
Play was
has
out of
given
bounds.
us the most offense we've seen
clock.
today.
17.
One of the best referees in the league in all of college football, David Whitwell.
Bellamy, Bell, and Walker are the wideouts for Navarre. A first down. Here comes a blitz. Navarre stands in. Walker, touchdown.
What a catch.
What a grab, what a throw. And just like that, In less than a minute, Michigan drives it down and scores. Marquise Walker must have heard me say they've held him in check. It was almost all Marquise Walker on that drive.
Right. You'll never see the route that he ran, but you'll see the catch. I mean, that ball was thrown 5 feet above his head, and he went up and got it.
Extra point by Epstein is good. 55 seconds and 80 yards into a 9-play drive. Michigan gets its first touchdown.
Look at the protection. 32 is Scott. He's on a blitz. Was picked up very nicely. The difference in these two offenses is the offensive line play. Navarre's getting time to throw.
Really pretty catch.
Yeah, for sure.
So just like that, the crowd has been quieted. There's Walker. And there's the grab at the end. 4 catches on that drive after I had said they held him in check. He just lit it up.
They were, you know, Michigan was having some trouble moving the ball, and then they go into their 2-minute offense, and then they just move it down the field. And people say, you know, why is that? I said, well, sometimes you change the tempo. It's a little bit of a rush situation. You do things a little bit differently.
They got Penn State defensively on its heels a little bit, and they never let them up. Now just 12 seconds left as Epstein's going to squib one down the field. Tony Johnson's going to try to get over there. Actually, it's going to be covered by one of the up guys, Blosser, the fullback. And we have Penn State coming back out with 12 ticks left till halftime. Valvoline halftime show's coming up. John and Terry will have all the scores and highlights. And Joe Paterno still looking for elusive victory number 1. And I say it that way because he could care less about the one that everybody's thinking about, and that would be to tie Bear Bryant, of course.
You know, you say those words are never true because all he's thinking about is getting one win and then another one. He doesn't care about all that other stuff.
They're going to go to the locker room here down 13-0 after really playing a good game on defense until the last minute of this half. Their offensive line has let too many guys get to number 7. And Lloyd Carr's offense sparks it up in the final 55 seconds. They lead 13-0. We'll be joining John and Terry at Times Square Stadium in New York right after this.
The Valvoline Halftime Show, brought to you by Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines.
Welcome back, John Saunders and Terry Bowden. A little look at the emotion involved in the Red River shootout. Last year, remember, Texas got clobbered by Oklahoma. Oklahoma celebrating on the field, pointing down at the turf. The Texas players said they've circled this on their calendar since last year, ready for it. Chris Sims, though, a little unfortunate early here, picked off by Andre Woolfolk. He just steps in front of the receiver, takes it back down the sidelines, but it would remain a defensive struggle. Oklahoma's Nate Hibble, remember him getting knocked around against Kansas State? Watch this. Knocked to the ground again and knocked out of the game. Reaches over, Terry grabbing the shoulder. Jason White comes in.
If he comes in, he runs the option real well. He's an excellent quarterback, too. Bob Stoops likes both of these quarterbacks, but the big key is Texas's defense. They were down 42-7 at half last year. They've made the adjustments on defense.
That guy, Quentin Griffin, who had 6 touchdowns last year, has the only touchdown of the game, 7-3. You got to ask you, what does Texas, though, have to do to get their offense
Open up their offense. They got to open up their offense, let Chris Fitzsims throw the ball downfield.
All right, well, of course, we'll keep you up to date on the score of that one, 7-3 at halftime. Florida facing LSU, a team that passes the ball very well, a team that does not defend the pass very well. And Rex Grossman has 4 touchdowns, 2 of them to Jabbar Gaffney.
Best offense in the country, but they're holding LSU to -7 yards rushing. LSU can't win if they can't rush. And Florida, with their schedule, if strength of schedule means anything, they go to number 1 if they win this game.
If you're voting today, Rex Grossman for the Heisman?
Yeah, I think he's put up the best numbers against the best competition.
That's exactly right. Kentucky facing South Carolina. Lou Holtz has done another job of turning around a program. Phil Petty, the quarterback he loves sometimes and doesn't like him that much some other time. 14 yards in this touchdown run. Petty got the job done today. 23 yards to Corey Alexander, doing it through the air as well as on the ground. Just 112 yards, but a couple of touchdowns and the rushing touchdown for Petty. And South Carolina goes to 5-0.
South Carolina is not great at anything except knowing how to win. Kentucky was bad on defense last year. They're bad on offense and defense this year.
They've lost 12 straight in the SEC. USC, they've lost 3 games that they probably feel they could have won, facing Washington today. Carson Palmer just perfect thus far in the game.
But remember, Washington has won 11 straight ball games. 7 have been coming behind victories in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, we'll look for that. Georgia Tech facing Duke. Duke has a lot of streaks going as well. None of them on the good side of the ball. George Gotti to Kerry Watkins. Watkins, 4 receptions for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns. Duke has now lost 17 consecutive games.
And Georgia Tech played better defense. Their defense was really bad last week against Clemson. They've got to play better to get back in that ACC race.
Texas A&M last week knocked off Notre Dame, and that was the best game they have played thus far this year. Looking to go to 5-0 with a 16-10 lead on Baylor. Keith Joseph with a 5-yard touchdown run.
And another great defensive game. I think the wrecking crew is back at A&M.
And the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, the team we talked about them beating last week, looking to go to 1-3, 17-7. Carlisle Holiday with a 67-yard touchdown run from his quarterback position. But let's look about the game we watched, Michigan against Penn State. It was terrible, obviously, giving up that late touchdown. But you don't see anything in Penn State that leads you to believe they can come out of this funk.
No, you know what? They're playing very good against Michigan. After Michigan won last week, I said, okay, Michigan looks like to be the best team. So you got to give them credit. They're playing good. They got their kids up to come play this game. But Joe Paterno is frustrated. This team, they don't do the little things you need to win football games. They have a turnover. They don't even get a field goal out of it. And then they let the score come in the last few seconds of the first half.
You mentioned it last week. When you looked at their schedule, you said you did not see an easy W on the schedule. We pointed to Indiana as perhaps the victory they would get to end a streak. But Indiana absolutely annihilated Wisconsin today. They had almost 40 points in the first quarter of the game, so now you're thinking they might have a tough time against Indiana as well.
With Antoine Randall L at quarterback, they're a different football team, and you're right. You can't circle any W's. Penn State's going to have a hard time finding 2 wins on that schedule.
Yeah, and he's looking, of course, one more victory right now to tie Bear Bryant, so the folks in Alabama, I'm sure, are celebrating. None of them celebrating too much, but they like to see the Bear keep his record. Stick around. We'll come back with more of the Valvoline Halftime Show in just a moment. Right now, this guy is a frustrated head coach. Welcome to Times Square and Times Square Stadium here with the Valvoline Halftime Show. John Saunders alongside Terry Bowden. And Terry, how would you like to have your first year in Division 1A, as with Troy State, and you schedule at Nebraska, at Miami? They actually had a lead at Nebraska of 7-0 before losing that one big, and today you get the feeling that Ken Dorsey knew he'd be in for a quiet day. A little more difficult in the first half than expected. 22 yards to Kevin Beard here. Miami grabs a 17-7 lead, takes that to the locker room. Then defense, Brock Nutter picked off by Edward Reed, 25 yards for the touchdown. And Miami in a tune-up for Florida State next week here on ABC wins 38-7, the final. Dorsey with almost 300 yards.
So far, Miami has beaten 2 bad teams for Pennsylvania, Rutgers, and a state that's not a state.
Troy State drops to 1-3 in their first season with the big boys. Virginia Tech facing West Virginia. Frank Beamer's team has been terrific on both sides of the ball. Grant Noel handing off to Kevin Jones. Lee Suggs not there, but they pick it up with a group of running backs. 44 yards for this touchdown. Burnell had 102 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Noel threw for 171 yards. And Jones, the youngster, 67 yards and a touchdown.
West Virginia was supposed to give them a test. This is their worst home loss since 1963, but vintage Beamer ball. Great defense, great specialty teams, and they run that football.
The third shutout, you're giving up just about 5 points a game. That will generally get you victories. Georgia facing Tennessee. Great finish in this game, but Damian Gary returns this punt here in the second quarter, takes off 72 yards. Great move right there, and then breaks out of a tackle. And Georgia trying to win in Knoxville for the first time in 21 years. Casey Clausen, 62 yards to Travis Stevens. This is in the final minute of the game. Tennessee was trailing. They take it in for the touchdown and grab a 24-20 lead. Under a minute to go, and David Green, the youngster quarterback, leads them right back. 6 yards to Veron Haynes. 2-point conversion was no good, but Mark Richt has the victory. 1980, the last time Georgia won in Knoxville.
John, you know how many times I've seen Mark Richt call that exact same pass play for a touchdown, as the coordinator at Florida State.
And usually have the same result as well. 303 yards for David Green. Colorado facing K-State. K-State with 37 points last week against Oklahoma. Nothing doing today. Craig Oaks, 23 yards to Daniel Graham. Colorado had the lead, and L. Roberson, the quarterback, was sacked 6 times in the game. Picked off here by Marcus Harrison, and Colorado goes to 4-1.
Well, Kansas State, after the loss to Oklahoma, was just flat. But Colorado, my sleeper before the season, they needed a game like this to get some national recognition.
Definitely getting the attention of people right now. In K-State, 94 the last time they won lost back-to-back regular season games. That's Joe Tiller thinking about last week when he probably shouldn't have escaped with a victory here. Brandon Hance, 4 yards on the touchdown run. And Joe Tiller and Purdue go to 4-0, 23-14 the final.
Well, they're not a real strong team. They're going to have to win a lot of close games this year to have a chance in the Big Ten. But Joe Tiller, 24-3 at home.
Virginia and Maryland. Maryland looking to go to 5-0 for Ralph Friedgen, returning to his alma mater. Sean Hill, 53 yards to Julian Gary. And if you didn't believe in Maryland before, that number 25 spot, you should today, as they hold off Virginia and win this one 41-21. First time they started 5-0 since '78.
Ralph Friedgen, when he did it at Georgia Tech as the coordinator, he sat back, found out what offenses to put in, what defenses were good in the ACC. He knew that ACC best job of any coach in the country right now.
And no coach, first-year coach from Maryland, has ever started 5-0. And take a look at the standings, and no, don't stand on your head and look down and say, what's Clemson doing on the bottom and Maryland on the top with Florida State under them? This Maryland Terrapins team, Ralph Friedgen, as the offensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, has put a lot of that in with Maryland as well.
He sure has. That's the Virginia team that beat Clemson, and the North Carolina team they beat Florida State.
Maryland Terrapins on top, although there's plenty more to still stretch out the rest of this season. We'll continue with the Valvoline Halftime Show in just a moment.
Valvoline Halftime Show, brought to you by Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines.
ABC Sports is proud to present the skating event of the year. 4 decades of America's champions come together to pay tribute to the 1961 U.S. World Figure Skating team. Hi, I'm Peggy Fleming. Please join us for this ABC Sports special event next Sunday at 2 Eastern, 3 Pacific.
Next Saturday here on ABC, #1 Miami facing Florida State at noon. Then regional action at 3:30. Some will see Wisconsin and Ohio State. Others will be in the Pac-10 to watch Washington take on UCLA. Then on the West Coast only at 4 o'clock Pacific, it'll be San Diego State facing UNLV. That's all next Saturday. Meanwhile today, Minnesota facing Illinois. Kurt Kittner's having a pretty good year. 28 yards to Brandon Lloyd as Illinois grabs a 10-0 lead. Kittner's not done. This time he hooks up with Lloyd again. This one for much more yards, 59 yards. There's the touch Terry we've talked about with this guy.
Well, after Illinois' last week's poor showing against Michigan, people thought they might win that one. They needed a big win here to get back to what people think they could compete for the Big Ten championship.
Illinois with the victory there. And Western Carolina loses to Georgia Southern. Adrian Peterson, 105 yards on the ground. That's the 36th straight game he's done that. That's an NCAA record if you include the playoffs. 48 games he has been over 100 yards. There's like 3 Heisman trophies on that list as well.
Adrian Peterson, the best running back in the country, any division. You heard it here.
All right, 36 in a row. Congratulations to him. That's it for our Valvoline Halftime Show. Right now, let's take it back out to your game.
Halftime at Beaver Stadium. Nittany Lions down 13-0 to Michigan as the Blue Band plays. ABC Sports presentation of college football. We'll continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Halftime, Beaver Stadium, 15th ranked Michigan with a lead on the Nittany Lions, 13-0. Penn State trying to avoid an 0-4 start. And Bob, I thought they played very well defensively up until the last 55 seconds of the first half.
Reminded me of a typical Penn State-Michigan game. You know, a lot of tough hitting, a lot of stuff. Like you say, Michigan is doing the things that they've always done, moving the football, attacking defensively. The thing that we're missing is the offense from Penn State, and they've been a little lacking in that. Michigan starts it off with a screen pass, little leap by Askew, and a fake field goal inside the 5 that doesn't get in. Well, offensive tackle misses a block, knocks it loose from Mills. And Mills has had a tough first half as far as he's been sacked so many times. And Walker gets up for the only touchdown of the second quarter.
Walker really quiet until that last drive, and then he was the man, he and Navarre. And now they lead 13-0, and they'll have the ball first as Gould kicks. And this one sails out of bounds. Nope, it's going to be a touchback. I thought it was out of bounds.
It's close.
Right out on the corner. Our Morgan Stanley well-connected storyline. We mentioned Marquise Walker, 7 receptions, 67 yards, and that touchdown just before halftime. B.J. Askew has carried it both as a receiver and a runner a lot today. And Zach Mills sacked 4 times. Just no rushing yardage at all for Penn State. It's been their story all year, as Bob mentioned earlier, averaging 46 yards a game. There was the man right there in that final minute of the first half. First down for the Wolverines. Askew got about 3. Askew had 125 total yards from scrimmage in the first half. And he outgained Penn State all by himself.
Yeah, that was his 17th carry. He's got 72 yards on the ground. But it's been Askew and Walker and Navarre, but the silent guys are the ones that you don't hear about. Those are the guys up front that are giving him time to throw and opening the hole.
Second down and 7. On a play-action bootleg. Little loft out there. And a penalty marker down. I think we're going to have a late hit on the quarterback.
You're right, partner.
And that was Bob Jones, the defensive captain, who popped Navarre after he threw that little pass. And that's going to tack on more yardage.
We haven't had many penalties in this ball game. None against Michigan, roughing the passer. And that'd be the 4th penalty against Penn State.
And every one of those, you never can find a good penalty. I guess every one of the penalties against Penn State has been just killing them.
Roughing the passer, defense, 15 yards from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
That's too late.
Oh, yeah. That's way late.
Swanee.
Talked to Lloyd Carr as he was leaving the field, Brad, and he said, after paying his respects to the defensive line of Penn State, that he wanted his offensive line to do a bit better job in Michigan of running the football, so they intend to do more of that here in the second half.
That was their MO last week. Once they got the lead on Illinois, they said, here we come, try to stop us. And here they come again. Askew. And they do stop him after a gain of about 2.
Swanee Lloyd Carr didn't tell you all the things he was happy with. He just told you. That's all he looks at. He says, I take all this stuff and put it in my back pocket. All these other things are going well. I want to do better in this area.
He's got
I love those coaches. They got a whole case of bottles that are full of water, and they got that one that's leaking a little bit, and that's what they think about.
That's for sure. That's why they get better.
Chris Perry and a tailback now for Michigan. Second down and 8. They fake it to him. Navarre's got all kinds of time. Deep ball for Bellamy. Got him! Touchdown, Wolverines! 53-yard strike from Navarre to Bellamy. Touchdown, Michigan.
First drive of the second half. About 3 or 4 plays into it. This is something that they saw in the first half that they wanted to come out and run. Stan Parrish, the coordinator, getting it called, working it to perfection.
Longest play from scrimmage this year for Michigan. And the home run ball to Bellamy. And now Epstein will try to make it 20-0. And does. Pretty looking play. So in the last 3 minutes of play, Navarre's thrown 2 touchdown passes.
Little play action. Now he's going to come back bottom right, bottom of your screen. The play action held the safeties. Yisrael 15 was suckered up by the hold of the play action. Tell you, anytime you get a penalty, it helps the offense get down the field. The roughing the quarterback penalty.
So the touchdown to Walker to end the first half, the touchdown to open the third quarter. The reaction of John Navarre now, who's thrown a couple, and it has quieted this crowd.
You saw Navarre high-fiving some of his offensive linemen, too. Those quarterbacks know.
No doubt. He's had all kinds of time today. They've gotten nowhere near him. Closest I can remember a game that we've done this year where a quarterback had that much time was in this stadium. And that was Miami's quarterback had all day to throw. Epstein to kick. That's Larry Johnson back there with his brother Tony. Let's see which one will handle it. It's going to be Tony from the 6. Out across the 25 to the 27. A reminder, coming up next Saturday, ABC Sports brings you a great college football doubleheader at noon Eastern. We'll be down at Tallahassee for Miami and Florida State. Then at 3:30, Wisconsin and Ohio State, or Washington and UCLA. Get set for next Saturday's action with previews, analysis, and Terry Bowden's weekly chat show online at ESPN.com. Keyword ABC Sports. Keyword over there right now is blocking.
That's Terry Malone, the line coach, going over some things that he may have seen that Penn State did differently coming out second half.
Penn State, McCoo on a little counter. Didn't get anything. Back to the line of scrimmage. That's about it. Larry Foote made the tackle. McCoo hasn't really been much a part of this offense. He's a little bit banged up, wasn't he, Swanee, in the first half?
Well, he's a little banged up in the first half, McCoo. But the guy who really got banged up is a fullback, Sean McHugh. McHugh is out of this ball game. They took him back in for some x-rays. They have not determined just what is wrong with his leg yet. And, of course, Penn State always plays injuries very close to the vest.
The guy that they plan to throw it a lot to, not a part of this game now since early in the ball game. And Mills goes to his tight end, Gilmore. Pick up a 12. That's a first down.
Penn State offensively has been much better in the second half of their first 3 ball games. As we mentioned, they have yet to score a touchdown in the first half all year.
Yet to score any kind of points in this game yet. Second half's been better to them, but now they've built themselves a 20-point hole against the 15th ranked team in the country. A team that's beat them 4 straight years. None of the guys on this Penn State team have ever beaten the Wolverines. First down at the 40. And here comes a design run for Mills. Boy, when I'm short on quarterbacks, I don't know how much I use that play.
Yeah, but when you're having trouble running the football and scoring points, I think you just do about anything you need to do.
I think that's their longest run, though, isn't it? 7 yards for number 7.
Jefferson is the fullback on this play, and he's just going to lead him around in. That's Foote, number 17. He just flows around to the end, and Jefferson, 39, gets a piece of him blocking.
It's actually the second longest run of the day. Larry Johnson had a 10-yarder in the first half. So Zach got 7, second down and 3. Here's a counter. McCoo goes down after a pickup of a yard. Victor Hobson knocked him off his pins. Going to bring up another third down situation. Third and a couple. There's Eric McCoo, what he did last year against Michigan. Had over 100 yards and 6 receptions. So he was the man last year, even though they lost 33-11. They went 1 of 5 on field goals, and they had 5 turnovers in that game, which was a season high. And so last year, even though they did some good things offensively, they missed opportunities, and they had too many turnovers. Here comes a blitz. Mills steps in, fires. Johnson's got it. This is Brian Johnson, and it's a first down. Nittany Lions at the 35 of Michigan.
There you go. A lot of things happening there. The safety, as you mentioned, coming up on the outside and blitzing, but this time he's picked up from the blind side. Got time to throw, pitch and catch. The receiver, Johnson, gets open, and the throw is there. It just seems as though when Penn State comes out for the second half, they're a little bit more relaxed. Offensively, they take more time. They get their assignments right, and they get the execution done.
At the 35 of the Wolverines. Look out. That got hit from behind. The ball got hit from the front. Rumashek is the one that hit him, and Shante Orr is the guy that stuffed the pass. That's your 2 ends playing volleyball with your quarterback.
On the blind side, that's Rumashek. He's had a field day all day.
Yeah, coming around McKelvey over there. We said this young tackle on the right side for Penn State with Matt Schmidt out of there has had trouble with Rumashek.
He's been sacked 4 times and hit a number of other times.
Don't try to count how many times he's been hit. Here's the option. And McCoo back to the middle of the field. Got maybe to the 32. Eric Bracken's part of the group that turned him in and brought him down.
This Michigan defense is just so quick.
Yep.
I mean, there was some space there after he got around the one defender, and then there was about 3 or 4 of them there to shut him off. They got 8 starters returning, Michigan does. This defense was very young last year.
They're a lot better now.
They sure are.
Came in, as Bob, I think, mentioned earlier in the first half, allowing only 2 yards per carry to the opposition and 7th in the nation against the run. 3rd down and a long 7 here.
They're a tough defense because they move a lot, slant in the offensive line, blitz a lot.
There's what Penn State's done on the ground. Way under the average so far. They need 7. They aren't going to get it. Pass intended for Jefferson, the fullback, out of the backfield. And let's see what Penn State decides to do. They, I think, are too far out to try a field goal, and you think they're almost too far in to give it up. So let's see if they go for it. Everybody's staying on the field, so what I'm thinking, apparently Joe's thinking. Blosser, the fullback, comes in with a play from the bench. Here's their 4th down conversion attempt coming into the game. They were 1 for 3 on their 4th down conversions on the season, but this is a big one. 4th and 7.
Watch out for Michigan here. They're going to come with some blitz from the outside.
Now they back out of it a little bit. Mills from the shotgun. Penalty markers down.
Joe's got to be pulling his hair out.
Oh, boy.
You just got to be pulling your hair out.
Remember when they had 4th down and 2 feet, and they measured in the first half, and they came out and they had the mental error and the 5-yard penalty, and there went their opportunity for a first down. Here they go, trying to get a momentum thing going, and they do almost the same thing.
Yeah. Too much time. When you deal with young players, and the quarterback has got to be responsible for that. He's got to be, the 25-second clock is at the end of the field. You got to see that, and if you can't snap it, you got to call timeout.
So now Royer will have to punt. Hangs it up. Lazy kick. Tony Johnson, as he did in the first half, trying to shag that thing down. Couldn't quite get there. And so it goes in the end zone, and Michigan will come out to the 20. The reaction of waiting too long when you want to go on 4th down, I think that says it all. (9:17), 3rd quarter. Michigan still leading by 20. And on the ground they go to B.J. Askew. Only about a yard picked up. Jimmy Kennedy made the tackle. Our Pacific Life game summary. They brought some heat on the quarterback, Navarre, today. Shamar Finney there with a sack, but Navarre's hung tough. He's thrown touchdown passes to Marquise Walker, and then on a beautiful 53-yard rollout, found Bellamy for the score the last time they had the ball. And thus our 20-0 Michigan advantage. Meanwhile, his counterpart, Zach Mills, has been beaten from both sides of the ball and knocked around considerably today. Here's a draw play. Askew. He got out to about the 29-yard line. Sam Rui made the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and short coming up for the Wolverines.
Earlier in the day, we talked about Michigan on the road needing balance. That was their 27th run. They've thrown 26 passes.
That's pretty good. It's pretty balanced.
Offensive line has done a nice job of protecting during the passes and opening holes for the runners.
Well, the reason that's not perfect is that's an odd number. 3rd down and a yard. They load up on the right side and they run it back into the middle, and it's stopped by Penn State. Finney is there, and so is Kennedy. Let's check in now. John Saunders, Times Square Stadium in New York. John?
Brad, in the Coors Light update, you know Notre Dame had never started 0-3, so you know they'd never started 0-4. Carlisle Holiday takes off, breaks a couple of tackles against Pitt into the open field, 67 yards for the touchdown. The Irish win 24-7.
Well, congratulations to Notre Dame. They get off the schneid. That's what Penn State's trying to do here. They've never opened up. 0-4. High lazy kick. Bruce Branch camps under it, and he'll take it at about the 22-yard line. Penn State being shut out right now at home, but they've got the football back. We'll see how their offense can do when we return. with Bob Greasy and Lynn Swan. Brad Nessler with you from Beaver Stadium, where the Nittany Lions trail 15th-ranked Michigan 20-0. Joe Paterno looking for win number 1 on the year. And a long ways from it right now, but they've got the ball back at their own 22-yard line. Omar Easy in at the tailback spot. Zach Mills to throw. Completes it out. Blosser is fullback out of the backfield. Pickup of 5 or 6. Everybody waiting for Joe to win number 323. We asked him about it recently.
It'd be humbling. I think that I don't think I'm in anywhere naive enough or fat-headed enough to think that a guy like Brian is a guy that I would want to walk around and say, look, I'm better than Brian or anything like that. I think it's good for Penn State if it happens.
Will it happen today? Will it happen down the line? The schedule doesn't get much easier, I'll tell you that much. They've got a week off, does Penn State, and then they've got Northwestern and Ohio State back-to-back before Southern Miss here for homecoming.
Yeah, and really, those of us who know Joe, and those of you out there watching this who know Joe, know that whether or not, if you take a look at the schedule, whether or not Joe gets the record or not, I think as a person and as a statesman and as a spokesman for his profession, there will never be a guy to top Joe Paterno.
That's very well said, partner. From the 36, pump fake, Mills deep down the middle. It's intercepted. Picked off by Cato June. And June's out of bounds at the 47.
When you pump the football, you're going to draw everybody to it. And that's the problem with that play. You beat the guy you pumped, but Cato June came from the other side of the field. Watch this now. He's going to pump. Right here he pumps. Right there. Now when you do that pump, that's going to draw other people. Cato June comes from the right side all the way across the field, saw the pump, and picked it off.
Cato June, who missed last year with a knee injury, comes up with the interception and got it back to the 46-yard line. Navarre with the handoff to Perry. Perry trying to get to the corner, run out of bounds by Sean Mayer. Check in with Swanee.
Oh, Bob and Brad, when you talk about that last pass play and what went wrong, it's also a mistake by the wide receiver. When you look at it, and that wide receiver comes in, he pump fake it, yeah, he draws people over. And that pass was thrown more to the center of the field. That receiver needs to get an outside release. That way the quarterback is throwing away from that coverage. He's now drawn to that area. And you can just look at that play and see the way he threw that ball, Bob. The receiver probably ran the wrong direction.
Yep, that thing was a heat-seeking ball for the safety coming over, and that's what ended up being the case. Navarre drops and rolls to a touchdown on this play last time. This time throws it out to Walker. Marquise Walker into Penn State territory with 5:40 left in the third. 20-0 Michigan. They sell this pretty well, don't they?
Little play action fake, little personal protector out there, big offensive lineman. It's good one.
Again, other than maybe a couple of blitzes by Finney and maybe a couple late hits, Navarre had been touched much. By the rush of Penn State, that is. They're going to bring some heat this time with a blitz. And they got it. The pass incomplete. Boy, right after I said it, Yaakov Yisrael came flying in on a safety blitz, and Navarre felt that one.
Well, he hit him at just the right time that the ball didn't get where it was intended.
There was actually a guy open over there. Or momentarily open, we should say.
See, he's watching. He's looking up, watching the replay. So where'd that guy come from?
So that's 4th down and 3.
You know, here's a look at the replay. He just gets hit as he's throwing the ball. That's the thing that's different about football today than it was 20 years ago. Players can look up and get an instant replay.
That's right.
And see, they look up before they go to talk with the coach. So they can change their story. If the coach is seeing it up there, say, I better not say I was not hit. Well, coach, I was hit. You know, you got to get your story straight because he's looking at the same thing you are.
A guy expected to be a big part of the offense today, Sean McHugh, the fullback. And that looks like a cast on his lower right leg as he was hit, remember, in that first half by Todd Howard, big collision. It's either wrapped awfully tight or he's got a cast on his right ankle.
Penn State does not give information out about injuries. So.
Right. Bruce Branch will field the punt right about the 20-yard line. Reminder coming up on Monday Night Football. Kurt Warner and that high-powered Ram offense led by maybe the best in the business, Marshall Faulk. I don't think anybody'd argue with me on that one. They take on Ty Detmer trying to come back from a 7-interception game. We'll see how he does. That's Monday Night Football, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 Pacific.
You got to improve on that, huh?
Yeah, you got it. First down, Penn State at the 20-yard line. Mills comes up fire, and Brian Johnson made the catch. He's got a first down. Across the 30 to the 31. Marlon Jackson bumped him out of bounds. Our Dodge drive summary. Penn State so far today, 11 drives, 7 punts, a fumble, an interception, a missed field goal in the end of the half. And that's when your drive train has gone out of your Ram Tough Dodge right there.
Yes, sir. 4 sacks are not shown on that screen.
They got transmission trouble. They got everything going on those drives.
Yep.
They need to put it in 4-wheel drive right here. There's their total yardage, 6 yards on the ground. They'll try again on the ground. And maybe one. Larry Foote made the tackle on Larry Johnson.
Yep. Foote, no surprise he's in on the tackles. He's leading the team in tackles and tackles for losses. In fact, he's leading the Big Ten in tackles for losses.
At 11 coming in. We mentioned he's a Butkus candidate. Had 84 tackles last year. 12 tackles against Washington, 6 of them for loss, which was a Michigan record. He's one of the leaders. A home state guy. 6 tackles today for Larry, as a matter of fact. Second down long, pass complete. Tony Johnson. Oh, they just hang with you, don't they? Bracken's had him wrapped up and wouldn't let him go.
They're quick. This defense is quick. Jim Herman, the coordinator.
Funny, we talked to Jim last year about, you know, you're young and gee, you're having trouble, and now all of a sudden those guys are growing up in a hurry.
Yeah, and they're still. We mentioned that 8 of them came back, and there's only like 3 seniors on the starting defense. So he's going to have these guys back for a couple of years, and now. You know, Michigan, whereas everybody thought they were going to be in the middle of the pack, you got to look at them very strongly as a contender to win the Big Ten title.
Might end up being the leader of the pack before it's over. Mills, design run for the quarterback again, got the first down. Victor Hobson brought him down, but Zach Mills is a tough cookie. He's been hanging in under heavy pressure. He's run when they've asked him. He's run when he had to. That time he got a first down.
Talking about the Big Ten, you know, this is the first year in 55 years that the winner of the Big Ten championship will not go to the Rose Bowl.
Unless they're ranked 1 or 2.
Unless they're ranked 1st or 2nd in the nation, and they'll play in the BCS National Championship game at the Rose Bowl.
Your Boilers are still undefeated.
Yeah, about that.
Northwestern and Ohio State play a big one on ESPN tonight. Might want to take that one in. At the 44-yard line. Here's a counter. Going nowhere. McHugh back to the line of scrimmage if he's lucky. Foote has another tackle, number 17.
Understand our good friend Bo Schembechler decided not to come to the game today because he wanted to stay home and watch Big Ten football. He was going to watch Purdue, Iowa at 12. Then he was going to watch Michigan at 3:30. And then tonight he was going to watch, what was it, Wisconsin and Ohio State.
Northwestern, Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, Bo, if you're watching, you're lazy, Coach.
Yeah.
You should be here with us. He's got his feet up. He's nice and warm. It's a little cool out here.
I know you played golf this morning.
That's a full day. That's a full day. Noon to midnight football. Here's a pass. Complete. Across the 45 is McHugh. Only got about 3 yards. Hobson and Foote there again to make the tackle. Not quite a capacity crowd at Beaver Stadium, and normally we don't say that, and it's not necessarily because they came in 0-3, but it is a fall break for the student body. And a lot of them had the opportunity to go home when classes were done yesterday because they don't have class again until Wednesday. So the 2 biggest stadiums around, Michigan and right here. And Michigan is on the road here and doing well. They give us the attendance, though, at 107,879. I'm not quite sure about that. Mills to throw. And Brian Johnson had been knocked down back there by Todd Howard, or ran into him. And so that pass nowhere near the intended receiver, and Penn State's got to give it up again.
Yeah, nobody was open. 3 receivers were open down this side, and everybody was blanketed by a defender from Michigan.
And just when Penn State threw that pass incomplete, a lot of those fans I was just talking about just started heading, and I don't think they're heading to the men's room and ladies' room. They maybe thought that was the last attempt to try to get it across midfield and get something going. Royer to punt. Nice kick. And very nice kick. Down inside the 5. Johnson and Gardner got down there, and Michigan will be in a hole, but they've got the lead 20-0. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. Original Coors. Nothing beats an original. Morgan Stanley, formerly Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. Move your money, get well connected. And FedEx, shipping at FedEx.com. It's fast, it's easy, and it just got cheaper. Nothing cheap about the stadium expansion here. $93 million over the last couple of years is added to that seating capacity.
A few more skyboxes.
First down, Michigan. Askew right into the middle of that pile. Kennedy and Finney combined on the tackle. And we're down to 1:10 remaining. There's some of the suites Bob was talking about.
They put in 60 new suites. What, 12,000 new seats in the stadium? But they didn't fix this side of it.
All the money went into the far side of the field.
Yeah, there's not a profit center over here in this press box.
I'm still worried about the ceiling tiles where we are.
You're hitting your head on the ceiling when you come in.
I had one fall on me last year when we were on camera, I think. Second down 9. Uh-oh, there's an opening. It closed at the 15, but Askew with a good run, and it's going to be a first down. He almost broke out of that one, and he's closing in on 100 yards now.
Right up the center. Good blocking.
Nice lead block by his tight end who pulled through there, and Crenshaw makes the tackle, or he might have ripped off a big one. 92 yards now for BJ on 23 carries. Could be the final play of the half, and he breaks into the secondary again. Got about 8 or 9 out to the 25, and they go from bad field position, terrible field position, to plenty of room to work, and the end of 3 quarters. And just like that, Michigan with a 20-0 lead, and now they can go to their ground game because they know they got Penn State right where they want them. But we've got 15 minutes left. The end of 3 quarters. 15th ranked Michigan 20, Penn State nothing. ABC Sports presentation of college football will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Set to start the 4th quarter. Michigan leading Penn State 20-0. And with the ball, and B.J. Askew over 100 yards receiving over the 30-yard line out to the 31. And he's had quite a day.
He has.
It's a day to bundle up. Into the 4th quarter. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, and Lynn Swan with you. The Penn State faithful came here in full force, hoping to see the first win of the season and a record-tying win for Joe Paterno, but they're 14 minutes away from being very disappointed again. Straight up the gut. And Askew just keeps adding to his total. 6 more yards for B.J. He only had 40 yards rushing last year, did catch 18 passes. Sam Rui, I think, is the guy that's down. But a career-high day now for B.J. Askew, 113 yards. His previous best had been Western Michigan. He had 112 and 2 touchdowns in that game. But this will be a new high for him, and he's done a little bit of everything today and done it very well.
Caught 4 passes totaling 56 yards, and then got him set up early in the ball game with that little screen pass.
That one across the middle when they had 4 wideouts. Got them down in scoring range.
Can't tell you the value of the receiver out of the backfield, a back that can catch the ball and run with it.
And now he's carried it 5 straight times for Michigan. And Rui is being helped off a little bit off the field. There's BJ's numbers, and that's pretty impressive. He's approaching 200 total yards now. 30 times he's touched it. That's a full week's work.
Yep. And he wouldn't have it any other way. There were times when he didn't get it. Anthony Thomas was here for 4 years at Michigan, started, played most every down, got the ball most all the time. Askew waited his turn.
Second down at 4. Much this time. Ron Graham makes a tackle. Reminder, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Hey, whether you're winning or losing, sometimes it's just fun to be at the game. In this case, Penn State approaching something they'd like to not have in the record books in their 115-year history. They've never started 0-4.
Well, it's amazing that Notre Dame started the way they started, and also Penn State.
Notre Dame got off that winless situation today, if you missed it, with a win over Pittsburgh. That pass is incomplete.
That's 2 of the storied football programs in our history of college football. It's going 0-3, both of them, 0-6 total. Notre Dame, as you mentioned, winning today. It doesn't look good for Joe. Looks like he may go 0-4 for the first time in the history.
Bear have mercy on us. Well, he didn't beat Bear Bryant in his coaching career, 0-4, and he's not going to match him or beat him today, it doesn't appear, unless this thing turns around in a hurry. Epstein's punt. Branch trying to clear everybody out of the way, as this one will roll harmlessly down to the 30-yard line with 13 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in the football game. So the Nittany Lions are running out of time. 4th quarter. They still believe, but they're down by 20. Michigan leading 20-0. Penn State's got the ball back, but they absolutely have to do something with it here, or time is going to run out on them. They'll work from the gun. Mills lofts one for Johnson. Broken up by Cato June as we check in with Lynn Swan. Swanee?
Well, Brad, you talked about the $93 million on the stadium improvements, but you can't take it home with you. But Bob Hudzik, who takes care of the football fields, came up with this idea, turf to go. And this is as close as you get to taking home a piece of the Nittany Lion football field. I'm telling you, his kids came up with the idea, Amy and Andy. They call it Amy and Andy Products, and they're learning all about business. So if you want about 150 square feet of Penn State turf, you can pick this up.
I like that. Take that home to Braxton and Schaefer. Have them grow that in your backyard, Swanee.
You got it. Yeah.
Here's a handoff, Omar Easy. And out across the 35, maybe to the 37. First time he's toted it today. Picked up about 7. Easy started the first 2 games of the year, and Joe Paterno said Omar had his chance and he didn't really get the job done, so they changed backs. Larry Johnson didn't do much either today, so Omar comes in and actually gets a decent gain.
Says nobody likes to be demoted, especially to number 3 in the running back chart, but he accepted it and says it's best for the team and knew his place, and says I'll go to special teams and do what I can. And he blocked a kick last week.
Here's Larry Johnson back in there now at that tailback spot. A 3rd down and 3. Mills fires. Oh, and it's caught. It was almost intercepted, and Gilmore took it on a ricochet. LeSueur nearly picked that off, and the tight end scoops it up for a 1st down.
Well, the big tight end's got big hands, and he's a big target when you throw to tight ends. That's usually the plus. Right coming at you, number 85. Ooh, that's dangerous. Went right through LeSueur's hands. He saw it all the way, should have had it, should have intercepted it.
1st down now for the Nittany Lions at their own 43. Here's a toss to Easy. And Omar across the 45 out to the 46. Give him about 4 more yards. Carl Diggs in on the tackle. Miami was a huge favorite today, and they had to struggle against Troy State, then finally put up 31 unanswered points in one. Oklahoma and Texas there in the fourth quarter in a close game, and some of you will be going to that game from ours. So we remind you of that. Virginia Tech shuts out West Virginia. And you look at some of the other scores. Huge win for Georgia in the SEC on the road in Knoxville.
Big win.
Second down and 6. Nittany Lions trying to get something going and get that goose egg off the board and try to get in this game. Here's the toss to McCoo. And that didn't have a good look to start with, and on top of it, McCoo is holding his lower leg.
I'm impressed with Michigan's defense. I know that Penn State has had trouble scoring points, and they've not played well and whatever, but Michigan defensively looks quicker and faster than they did in the last few years. They're more experienced, and this is a tough defense that Penn State's trying to go against today.
So it's a third down again to try to keep the drive alive. Under 11 minutes, 3rd and 8. Mills stands in. Now he's in trouble, and down he goes.
Sometimes you get shell-shocked when you're a young quarterback and they blitz so much, and then when they don't blitz, you think they are coming. And when you do have time, sometimes you think you don't have time because you've been rushed so much.
And the thing you just talked about, the speed of that defense just showed up there. Zach Mills is not a slow quarterback. He started scrambling out there, and Todd Howard just knocked him down before he ever had a chance. So David Royer to punt again, and Ronald Bellamy back deep. End over end kick. Bellamy, fair catch called for and taken at about the 19-yard line. So 10 minutes and 3 seconds remaining in this one. Michigan's got the ball back, and they're in command 20-0. So Navarre brings the offense back out. This is where Michigan would like to just give it to Askew.
Yeah.
And start to ice this thing away with a time-consuming drive with a 20-point lead and 10 minutes to play. They fake it to him. Navarre's going to throw. Incomplete.
You know, we're talking about the new seats in the suites over there, and they didn't do anything this side and this booth. I'm reminded, you know, we all fly a lot, and we fly on these small planes and some.
Right.
And when the announcement, when you're leaving the plane, she says, make sure you duck your head because the top of the door is lower than the ceiling.
We've been ducking all day. We have to duck to see out of this booth if you stand, and we choose to stand today. Try to keep our feet warm. Second down and 10. Askew cuts outside. Branch will make the tackle, but it's another 8-yard pickup for B.J. Askew. Our Pacific Life game summary. Summary of this one is some dropped opportunities by Penn State, some speedy defense that's made it tough on Zach Mills all day long. They can close the door on a running back in a hurry. They've held Penn State to a measly day on the ground again. 20 yards on the ground today. I think that might be a Penn State low because I believe the previous worst was against Wisconsin a couple of weeks ago. That was 23 yards. So that's in danger right now.
Yeah, well, if you just joined us, they came in averaging only 46 yards per game. So that was pathetic, and this is even worse, just 20 yards.
And the amazing thing is, over the years, we've come in here, done games or done Penn State on the road, and we've seen them rack up 250, 260, 300 yards. Yeah. They'd have guys like Kajana Carter and DJ Dozier. I mean, you can go back to Franco Harris and Lydell Mitchell, and, you know, you can go back a long ways when you're talking about with that guy, because he's been here 52 years, 36 as a head coach. And they've had great backs, but they've had, as Bob said earlier, they've had great lines. And they don't have a great line right now. And it might get better. It probably will. There's a big hit. Pickup of about 5. The ball come loose at the end.
Ball's out. You can tell when the official dropped the beanbag.
Bellamy got back. Perry got back on top of it, though.
Talking about Penn State, one stat just jumps out at you, and that is the fact they haven't won a game. But the fact is, when your offense is last in the nation in running the ball and your defense is near the bottom in the nation in stopping the run. If you can't run and you can't stop the run, you're not going to be very good, and Joe knows that.
At the 46-yard line, 2nd down and 5. Straight ahead with Walter Cross now, and he got about 3. You know, and Joe has not changed much. We're out of practice the other day, and he's talking about running backs. And he says, he's telling us a story. He says about Franco Harris and Lydell Mitchell and how great they were when they were in the same backfield here. And he says, you know, the cool thing is, he said, when I asked Lydell to run through a wall, he'd say, which wall? When I asked Franco to run through a wall, he'd go up and try to find a loose brick. I mean, he hasn't changed at practice, Swanee. You know that, too. I mean, he can still kid around. He gets involved. I think people don't understand that just look at Joe Paterno and say, you know, the game's passed him by. That's baloney. That's, you know, there's been too many coaches, great coaches, who over the years you've found out after somebody else comes in that, you know what, they weren't so stupid. And, I mean, you can go from Don Shulin right down the list, but Joe never changes.
Joe hasn't changed, and he continues to have as his #1 priority to make college a good experience for the kids, to make them better people, and also to have very competitive football teams, and he wants to win. But when you consider all the things that Joe Paterno has done for football, and we pick up the newspaper, and especially here in Pennsylvania, we're constantly reading about the game has passed him by, he shouldn't be doing this, and maybe he should change. Look at all the things he's done. There is not a college coach I know of, and we asked Lloyd Carr, and he agreed, nobody else has done. He and his wife have contributed $4 million back to the university. That's unheard of. I mean, Joe deserves to be here for when he decides to leave the ball game.
And the fans forget so quickly the 5 undefeated seasons and the 2 national championships in '82 and '86. I think, granted, he's been recruited against because of that 74 years young, his age. His team down right now, 20-0. BJ Askew on the sideline with his teammates, and number 15 Michigan about set to go to 4-1, 2-0 in the Big Ten. Penn State with the ball, Lamar Easy with a toss, and that Michigan defense, well, he paid for that gain. Defensively, Michigan today, we knew they were going to be tough coming in, and they just keep getting tougher, if you ask me. 4 sacks on Zach Mills today, and doesn't count the amount of times he got hammered after he got rid of it. A couple of forced turnovers, only 20 yards on the ground prior to that carry by Easy, and 4 of 14 on the 3rd down conversion. So right now Penn State has 25 yards on the ground after that last pickup, but still an awful day trying to sled away against a good defense.
Mills is 18 of 31, 195 yards and an interception.
Set to throw again. Zach, there's a nice toss. 1st down. Got it out to R.J. Luke, his tight end. Cato June made the hit. 14-yard pickup. I think Zach's getting better and better if they give him time.
All the time. This is good. This, you know, the problem is not Zach Mills, that's for sure. You know, and that's a nice down and out. All the plays, all the snaps that he gets is only going to help him in the games this year and down the road. But, you know, as I look at Joe and trying to get the record and losing this year, it's not, they're not doing anything differently. In the practice, we talked about the practices.
That one high, incomplete.
The thing that I see that are different are just the results. The results aren't there.
Let's check in Times Square Stadium in New York, John.
Well, Brad, Oklahoma just missed the field goal, and Chris Sims marches Texas down the field. Back to pass into the end zone, poorly thrown. Antonio Perkins steps in front and has the interception to snuff out that drive. Oklahoma right now with the ball and leading 7-3.
Boy, they got a good old-fashioned defensive battle going on at the State Fair.
After last year, what they score, 60-some-odd points? Oklahoma?
Mills gets rid of that one.
Yeah, just let me finish on what I was saying before about Penn State and the difference. The results aren't there, and the coaches are there. The coaches are doing the same stuff, and they want to be successful. The bottom line is Joe just doesn't have the players that he's had in the past. He doesn't have the linebackers that they've had in the past, and he doesn't have the offensive linemen. Those are the 2 areas that are just jumping out at you when you look at the roster.
Hard to make lemonade when you're working with grapefruits. I don't know what that means, but 3rd down and 10. Mills, boy, he hung into the last second and incomplete. And Hoyer let him have it. Pass intended for Gerald Smith.
They rotate about 7 or 8 defensive linemen in that Michigan defensive front. Keep them fresh all of the time.
So we're under 6 minutes, and the 9th punt of the day. David Royer, they talk about his punting statistics continuing to improve. That's because he's getting so much work. Marcus Curry on the other end. Went down in his tracks. Nice job on the special teams by Penn State to stop him there with 5:47 remaining in the football game, and Michigan in control.
Take care of the football.
Our Chevrolet players of the game in this one. B.J. Askew, marvelous day for him as both a rusher and receiver, and Shamar Finney's played awfully hard at linebacker and had a couple sacks today as well for the Penn State defense. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Senior defensive captain Shamar Finney out of Shelby, North Carolina, and B.J. Askew, the junior out of Cincinnati, who had his best day on the ground today, as his previous best was 112. He went over that. John Navarre was in the running, we can tell you that.
Yep.
He put up big numbers today, 246 and 2.
Walker was on the running. The backups for Michigan are in there now, getting a little action.
Gonzalez throws to his tight end, and that's complete. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road. Burger King, home of the Whopper. SBC, we're on it. And Original Coors, nothing beats an original. Final 5 minutes of the ball game. Lloyd Carr, somebody said to me the other day, why is he not mentioned when you talk about, the top 5-10 coaches in college football? And I said, I don't know, but he should be. I think part of it is Lloyd's a very reserved, kind of laid-back guy. He doesn't have a boisterous personality like some, and
doesn't look for the media. Doesn't look for the publicity and the notoriety. He was an old quarterback that just came out. He was a quarterback in college. Where did he go? Northern Michigan, I think that was where he went. And he has always been in the defensive side of the coaching. Always a defensive backfield coach, coordinator, Michigan.
His percentage improves a little bit today. Philip Fulmer's drops down a little bit today in that statistic you just saw. Here's straight ahead run. Dave Underwood, the true freshman, is getting some work now. Big kid out of Texas. Got about 4. But Lloyd, of course, had a national championship a few years ago. Undefeated season. Perfect.
National Coach of the Year in '97.
And really, this team is only about a bad 2 minutes against Washington on the road away from being undefeated.
Yeah, and they outplayed them. They had a field goal block that was returned for a touchdown, and they had an interception right after that was returned for a touchdown. In the fourth quarter, they would have won that ball game.
3rd down along 1, and I think they got the 1. Here's what we're talking about. A game on the road against this is Illinois last week. Beg your pardon. These are the trick plays that work. Gonzalez, 51 yards from Marquise Walker. Now Cross goes and lofts one out there, and Walker catches it twice. That's when Lloyd said, if he'd have dropped that ball, I would have had to murder him. So Gonzalez getting some work now. He's been a receiver and now a quarterback, redshirt freshman out of Pontiac. And he's a pretty good-sized kid, too. And a hit. Gino Capone on Dave Underwood after a short pickup.
One of the things Carr will be happy about, Michigan had no penalties.
That's today. Good coaching in itself right there.
Just good coaching, yeah. Everybody thought that when Penn State came into the Big Ten in '93, that they would dominate the Big Ten. Well, Since they've been in the league, that's 8 years, they've only won the title one time, and they've been to the Rose Bowl one time. In that same time period, Northwestern has won the title 3 times and gone to the Rose Bowl 3 times.
And Wisconsin has played a part in that Rose Bowl picture, too.
They've been several times.
That might be the most surprising score of the day. I had it written down in front of me earlier. Was it 62-37, Indiana over Wisconsin? Something like that.
It was a huge win for Cam Cameron and his Hoosiers.
Joe Paterno will have to wait another week. In fact, he'll have to wait a couple of weeks because the Nittany Lions are off next week. Then at Northwestern on the 20th, Ohio State the following week, and then Southern Mississippi is their homecoming game here. And most of November they're on the road, so it's not going to get any easier, that's for sure. Gonzalez got hit as he threw, incomplete. Michael Haynes still in there on the spot. Let's check in Times Square Stadium and John.
Brad, here's the score you guys are talking about. Wisconsin and Indiana. LeBron Williams, 56 yards, one of his 6 touchdowns in the game. It was 32-0 after the first quarter. They had 449 yards on the ground, and the worst Wisconsin defeat since 1890. Brad.
I don't even know if Camp Randall was Camp Randall then. I think they were just playing out in the pasture those days. Wow. John Navarre's back in at quarterback. Gonzalez took a pretty big hit on that last play, and now Navarre out of the shotgun on a 4th down, and penalty markers down.
You know, Indiana had won the game
5 yards.
going up there to Camp Randall. Looks like the Badgers were looking past the Hoosiers.
Maybe. 2 minutes, 3 seconds remaining in the football game here as Beaver Stadium continues to empty out. Michigan, that's their first penalty. We were just talking about it.
Yep. We're talking about Carr. You know, you look at the 7 years that he's been there, the 7 years he's coached. He's won 3 Big Ten titles. He's won a national championship and a national coach of the year. Not bad.
They put Navarre in there for a little quick kick, and his pooch punt is partially blocked. So the ball rolls to a stop. And Penn State will get it one more time when we come back. Final couple minutes from Beaver Stadium. Michigan in control. I believe this is going to be the first time, unless Penn State puts points up, that they have been shut out at home since the Rip Engel era, isn't it? In a long time, anyway. And motion. Another penalty coming out of a timeout. I think that's the 3rd time that's happened to Penn State today. That's not a good sign always. Felder, the left tackle, came out of his stance.
And you look at the paternal teams, and they are always among the least penalized teams in the Big Ten.
There's your buddy down there, Keith.
Mentally tired and physically drained from being 0-4, soon to be 0-4. Mills throwing, Brian Johnson catching. 1:48 left here. Time to check in Times Square Stadium in New York again with John Saunders. John?
Brad, you want to see why Oklahoma won a national championship last year? Watch Roy Williams here. Over the top, right into Chris Sims, into the hands of Teddy Lehman for the touchdown. And what would have been perhaps a go-ahead drive for Texas starting deep. Chris Sims, you see 3 interceptions. Oklahoma trying to hold on for the win.
They're the champions till somebody beats them.
When we did the Orange Bowl game, the championship game last year, it was the defense that stopped Florida State cold. They've got some great players, Kalmus and Roy Williams on that defense.
Pass complete. Eddie Drummond going to be close to a first down in front of Marlon Jackson. Time permitting. Stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. John Terry will have scores and highlights from across the country, and we may get an opportunity still to send you to the finish of that game in Texas. Mills in and out of the hands and intercepted. Marlon Jackson. 3rd turnover. That one skipped off his receiver Eddie Drummond's hands again, and that one you shouldn't blame on Zach Mills again.
No, and Marlon Jackson, the true freshman that they have such high hopes for, gets his first interception as a Michigan Wolverine.
Another look.
Excuse me, that's his second. Goes right through the hands of Drummond. Jackson is the one, number 20 for Michigan, that they've likened has the skills and the ability maybe to be another Woodson, Charles Woodson at Michigan.
So really the story, the day and the season may be all encompassed in that one play. What should be a first down or maybe a big play skips and slips out of the hands of the Nittany Lions and into the opposition, and that's kind of the way their 0-4 start has been. And now we're down to the final 120 as Michigan will go to 4-1, 2-0 in the conference. And Penn State still looking and still searching for that elusive first win of the year, and for the first time in the 115-year history of this storied Penn State program, they will be 0-4.
You got to hand it to Carr and his staff. They lost all of those starters off of the offense. 4 of their offensive linemen went into the starters into the NFL. They lost their quarterback. They lost the wide receiver, the guy that ran for the rushing yards leader. And he just kind of reloads. He puts in some more offensive linemen. Askew steps up and has. Now we've got Marquise Walker doing the stuff that David Terrell did. So Michigan, the recruiting process that they've done over the last few years, they've always been one of the best. And it shows in the games here today.
Here's a give on a handoff to Underwood, and he didn't get the first down as the clock is winding down. Michigan will win it and shut out Penn State at Penn State. Hasn't happened in a long, long time. Navarre with a big game. B.J. Askew an even bigger game offensively. A fast Michigan defense and a Penn State offense that just couldn't get it going again. That's going to wrap it up for Bob Greasy and Lynch Warren, Brad Nessler from Happy Valley. Time to go to Times Square Stadium in New York. John Saunders and Terry Bowden. Fellas.
All right, Brad, Terry will join me in a moment, but right now, time for some bonus coverage. A close game throughout today. Phil Simms' son, Chris, has thrown 4 interceptions in the game, and right now, Texas is trailing 14-3. Oklahoma's just had another pick. Let's go up for bonus coverage.
On the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas, with Gary Danielson and Jack Arute, I'm Brent Musburger. It's been a dandy. But Oklahoma has answered the call all game long. They've made the big plays. They've made the right decisions. From the backup quarterback to a wonderful piece of football by number 38. And for those of you who just joined us, watch 38 from the left. Now watch number 11, Lehman, stroll in for a touchdown. It was that easy. And just moments ago, Williams, number 38 again, made the interception. And the Horns have turned it over 4 times here today against Oklahoma. And how big does that Oklahoma-Nebraska game loom down the road in Lincoln?
Well, Brandon, at halftime I said that Oklahoma is battle-tested, and you can see as this game emerged, they feel good about it. They looked up at the clock and said, we've been here before, we've been in big games, we're used to it, but I'll tell you, every guy in this team is going to go up to that backup quarterback, Jason White, and say, thank you for studying that game plan all week. Thank you for being ready to play and not pouting about losing the job in the fall.
What a great point that is. There have been so many MVPs for Oklahoma, but Jason White has to step into the middle of the cauldron.
Right.
And he does the job replacing the injured Nate Hibble. He led the Sooners on their first touchdown scoring drive of the game. So we'll come back. We'll wrap it up. Oklahoma closing in on number 18 in a row.
Nathan Vasser is deep.
We are back now. Oklahoma, 1:23 to go. They'll be punting here, bringing the clock down. Here's young Basher. Guess who? Number 38. Listen, that's not one guy. That's got to be 2. It cannot be one player we're watching there. Huh? You know, this is unbelievable.
Let's see, there must be a lot of Williams on this team, right? Roy Williams, the interception and pass coverage. He's blocking on punts. He's lining up on the blitz as a strong safety coming in there. And he's also on the kickoff coverage team. The All-American earned it today.
Oh, he moves up to the top of the charts for the Jim Thorpe. I'm telling you, this is some great defense. And they have not been beating up on cupcakes. How many times can we say that? Sims throws in underneath and out of bounds, stop the clock, and then we got to have an asterisk. Today's Chevrolet players of the game. We're going to go with Jason White of Oklahoma because he did such a courageous job, backup quarterback. And we'll go with D.D. Lewis. For a time, he saved the game with that tackle on Quentin Griffith, left it at 7-3 in a recognition of their effort. Chevrolet makes a $1,000 contribution to each University General Scholarship Fund, but we should make a down payment on a Corvette for Roy Williams.
He'll have enough money to buy his own.
NCAA, just kidding. None of that. Second down and 4. And Sims goes down. Jimmy Wilkerson's played a good game.
Yeah, went down with a 3-man rush that time.
Final minute now. No, Sims and the Horns right up there at the line of scrimmage.
I don't think Texas believed they could get shut out with their high-powered offense, but Oklahoma shuts them out. No touchdowns, just a field goal.
Well, the executive producer of ABC Sports is Howard Katz. The coordinating producer, Bob Goodrich. He's also producing today's game. The director down there, Larry Cam, TD, Monty Poling. Associate producer, Mitch Green. Associate director, Brian Fahey. Director of production, Bob Towns. Our production assistants, TD and Big Kurt. Stats man, Big D himself, had a home game, Anthony Holman. And, of course, the team of Hill and Mobilson keeping us, it's like a law firm.
It is.
Here's 4th down, and, of course, trailing 14-3. So Sims goes from blue to white, and he's going down at the 12-yard line with Corey Klein wrapping him up. And Oklahoma wins for the 18th straight time, and great dejection for young Sims. They had such high hopes coming into this game, but this defense and the co-defensive coordinators with a big hug, and Stoops, he'll hug the first man. They gave him a big bath over there, and anybody can get his hands on, he'll hug. Look at this. It doesn't make any difference. Stoops is going to hug you. Way to go.
And I think you might be right. I mean, you hug anybody in a white jersey over there today because it was a team effort. When you win with a backup quarterback,
now that takes big arms. When you hug Mangino, folks, that's a hug, okay? So they'll take a knee here, and you can't say enough about Oklahoma. They set sail for back-to-back national championships. And I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a great effort to beat this team. These guys are for real all over again. Mac Brown's Texas team, well, they'll come back and play again. They'll wind up with a good year. This is a good football team. Like I said, the loser in this game is a good team.
Good luck the rest of the season. Appreciate it. All right, thank you.
So it's 14-3. Stoops and OU. They'll wrap it up when we come back.
Well, Coach, congratulations. You got any way you can get a win is good, but defensively, what an outstanding performance today.
I'll tell you, our defensive coach is unbelievable job. Our players, unbelievable job. We showed we can still play defense a little bit at Oklahoma, but all-around team effort. Could not be more pleased. Happy for our coaches, players. This is special.
Talk to me about how important it was for Jason White to step up after Nate went down.
You talked about, we said all along, he's a good one. He's a tough kid, and directs 2 good drives. We missed a couple of field goals on top of it. Jason did a great job tonight, as all our players did. Just kept playing good, solid football.
It doesn't get any easier down the road either.
Hey, it wouldn't be any fun if it was, right? This is great.
Congratulations.
This is a great atmosphere today in Texas. Texas is a great program, great club. It's great to have this kind of atmosphere and rivalry.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Brent?
And the Sooners plant their flag. The Red River Shootout belongs to OU. 14-3 right now. Let's send you to New York and John Saunders. John, this was a dandy.
All right, Brent, alongside Terry Bowden, and the questions are going to start tonight in all the dormitories on the campus of the University of Texas. Should Major Applewhite now step in? Now, when you have interceptions, it's to the team, not just to you, but 4 interceptions and a loss.
Well, if Major Applewhite is going to sit on the bench, then Chris Sims needs to play great, not good. The interceptions were bad enough. There were 2 deep balls. I thought the receivers were partially open. If he throws a better ball, there's 2 scores for them.
All right, they wind up with just a field goal. Stick around. We'll come back with more of the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report in just a moment. Once again, 14-3, Oklahoma wins for the 18th consecutive game.
The Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. Great cars, great rates, and over 1,200 locations around the world. Thrifty Car Rental. From Times Square in New York, John Saunders and Terry Bowden.
This is now the 8th consecutive time under Bob Stoops that they have beaten a top 10 team. Now, what's most impressive about this to me is they do it offensively, they do it defensively. Go back to last week. They gave up 37 points to Kansas State and win. Today, they hold Texas to 3.
That's right. Different type of matchups, different type of offense. That was the problem. Last week, they had a guy that could throw and run the option. I mean, they could run and run the option. They didn't know that he could throw the football, and they outscored them. This week, they knew exactly where Chris Sims would be. They knew exactly what they had to do, and they did just enough to win.
So now the question on many people's minds is, Oklahoma, should they be number 1? Because Miami of Florida today facing Troy State, and they were in a little bit of a battle against a team that's their first year in Division 1A, at least in the first half. Ken Dorsey would then take over. 22 yards to Kevin Beard. Miami opening up a 17-7 lead, but again, that's what it was at halftime. Defense comes in. Brock Netter's pass picked off by Edward Reed. 25 yards, takes it back for the touchdown. Miami starts to pull away. They, of course, tuning up for Florida State next week. You'll see that at noon Eastern time right here on ABC. But again, Miami, are they playing well enough to keep that number 1 spot?
Well, they clearly have the best talent in the land, but their strength of schedule, the people they're playing, they don't dictate a number 1. Maybe after Florida State next week, that'd be different.
Dorsey, though, still amongst the leaders for the Heisman Trophy. Now, Florida facing number 20 LSU on the road. Rex Grossman, again, continues to have an unbelievable season. Grossman coming in with about 66%, but right now his school record, 464 yards. Give me your top 1, 2, 3 when you consider what these 3 teams have done.
Well, Florida's playing great defense, too, and they beat Mississippi State, and they beat LSU. So I say it's Florida, Oklahoma, and then Miami, at least for this week, and Oklahoma could be number 1, and it wouldn't bother me either.
You look ahead to the game next week against Florida State and your dad for Miami. It's been 10 years since they lost at home. They haven't faced a talented team like this, though, over that period.
No, without a doubt. If they go to Tallahassee and beat Florida State, which has not lost there since 1991, if they beat them at home and they look good, I think it's enough to throw Miami back into the number 1 position.
All right, that one, of course, coming up next week right here on ABC noon Eastern time. Stick around. We'll come back with more of the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report in just a moment. Scores and highlights from around the country. Once again, Oklahoma holding off Texas 14-3. Welcome back once again to the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report. John Saunders alongside Terry Bowden. Let's move now to the SEC, where Georgia was on the road at Tennessee in Knoxville, where they hadn't won in 21 years. Casey Clausen, 62 yards, hooking up with Travis Stevens. Stevens doing most of the work on this.
I tell you, this Tennessee team was banged up a lot more than people thought. I was really looking this might happen against LSU. They got hurt, but David Green, redshirt freshman for Georgia, first SEC game on the road. Great job.
All of this in the final minute. Green, 27 yards to Randy McMichael. Moves it deep. And then Green, 6 yards to Veron Haynes. Wide open in the end zone. 2-point conversion, no good. But Mark Richt has the first victory for Georgia in Knoxville since 1980.
That last play there, Mark Richt, the offensive coordinator last year at Florida State. I've seen me call that 1,000,000 times at Florida State.
David Green, the youngster, 21 of 34, 303 yards. Casey Clausen, meanwhile, threw 3 touchdowns and 1 interception in the game. USC against Washington, a team that finds a way to win against a team that finds a way to lose. And once again, Washington, John Anderson, 32 yards. They find a way to win late, 27-24. Rick Neuheisel and his squad moving to 4-0 on the season.
That's 8 of those 11 wins came with fourth quarter comebacks.
Cody Pickett was knocked out of the game after throwing a touchdown pass. His replacement, Tyler Barton, threw 2 touchdown passes, and Sultan McCullough in a loss, 132 yards, averaging 4 per game. Per carry. Colorado against Kansas State. Remember last week, Kansas State 37 points. This week they watched Craig Oaks go 23 yards to Daniel Graham. And then Al Roberson was sacked 6 times, picked off here by Marcus Harrison. and Kansas State's offense doesn't show up today.
No, Kansas State was just flat, and that occurs a lot after a game like Oklahoma last week. But Colorado, my preseason pick is the big turnaround team in the Big 12. They're talented enough now that they can put a real thorn in some of the sides of maybe Oklahoma or Nebraska or a few of these teams.
All right, Chris Brown, 33 carries for 114 yards in that one. After what we saw today, it's going to be very interesting down the stretch in the Big 12. Back with more of the Thrifty Car Rental Report in a moment.
The Thrifty Car Rental Postgame Report. Great cars, great rates, and over 1,200 locations around the world. Thrifty Car Rental.
The ESPN USA Today Coaches Poll will come out tomorrow, and also will the AP. And we have, though, a look at our 1, 2, 3 early. This is Terry Bowden's top three. Florida at the top, Oklahoma after that huge win today, and Miami. After these three teams, who do you look for as someone who might bust through into the top?
Well, Virginia Tech, for one. Virginia Tech has 10 games before they play Miami. With their great defense, great special teams and running, Virginia Tech is a team that may end up beating Miami and taking their place in the championship. Nebraska plays Oklahoma, and UCLA plays none of them.
All right, doubleheader next week, including Florida State and Miami at noon.
What an extraordinary performance.
They won the Stanley Cup.
Wins the Indianapolis 500.
Best final round ever. Touchdown, touchdown.
Incredible. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.